Buttons stopped working, so I had to go and reset them. Hello, that's why the pause. Hey everyone, welcome. It is Sunday. It is Warhammer Sunday time, yes, welcome. There's always going to be a glitch at the start, you know that. It's the law, it's the way things are. Yeah, I pressed the button to go live and it was like, nothing's happening. Oh, Stream Deck. Next time you do your next revision of your hardware, put a button on the hardware to reset it. Oh, so frustrating. Welcome everyone. It is Sunday, it's Warhammer Sunday. It's that time of the week when I'd crack on with some Warhammer buildy, either my own personal army, the Unending forces of the Holy Contrivance, or perhaps, in this case, as we are today, just catching up with Warhammer. I'm moving, there's a cushion on my chair and it's in the way, so I'm going to move it. It's just getting on my nerves. It's a sloth, it's a cushion. It's for my elbow, but it's in the way and it's annoying me. Yes, I'm going to be cracking on with my Warhammer Conquest stuff. If you're not familiar, I am slowly working my way through all the issues of the Warhammer Conquest, getting them all built up and ready and stored in a big box until I've got everything and all the 80 issues are done and built, and at the very end I can then get them all out and start painting them and videoing the painting process to do lots and lots of painting tutorials on those. So that's going to be later on next year. So each weekend we're just cracking on, or rather I'm just cracking on with the buildy part. And today, yes, we're cracking on with the Plague Burst Crawler. I did find the instructions. I take it back, Games Workshop. Hachette. I found the instructions. They'd fallen out the magazine into a... Yeah, I found them anyway. So, yes, we're going to be cracking on with the Plague Burst Crawler today. Right, let's have a look. So, if you've never seen one of these before, I'll basically crack on with that and waffle on to you guys. It's a chance more of anything else. It's just a chance for you guys to hang out in the chat and have a good time, have a laugh with each other and just chill out while I crack on. We'll be going till 3 o'clock. As always, if you want to catch my attention, I've got the chat right here on my iPad. So if you want to catch my attention, you can put your comments in a big fat capital letters so I have a chance to see it. Or if you really want to, you can do a super chat, which is the little dollar symbol at the bottom of the chat window. That puts your comment in a coloured box and also makes a little noise and animation pops up here somewhere, and I have no option but to see your comment, that I can't possibly miss it. And also, if you do a super chat, that money does go towards this channel. It helps support this channel a little bit. So you're making your comment known and you're also supporting this channel a little bit. Other than that, if you are watching this and you can't see the live chat, there's a chat window here, but if you want to actually join in the live chat, you need to be on the YouTube page. So click on the little YouTube icon that's down in the bottom right, down under here somewhere underneath the video player. Click down there, there'll be a little YouTube symbol. Click on that and it'll take to the YouTube page where you can join in the live chat and do the typey, and you should do, because everybody in chat is awesome. As always, you may not have noticed if you haven't seen my last couple of streams, we have a new stream boss. Yes, George is our new stream boss. Kevin has been usurped. George is the new stream boss, and as yet he's only lost a tiny amount of health. If you're not sure what this is the Stream Boss Battle. Stream Boss Battle is an option for you guys. Hello, there is, in fact, a super chat has just popped in. It's not done this thing here yet. Give it 20 seconds because of the delay. There you go. Yes, Dad, thank you very much, Dad. Dad pops 1.99 through and says, moisture. Talking of moisture. That's a super chat. You now see how I've got no option but to see the comment if you do a super chat. Yes, this is Stream Boss Battle. It's a chance for you guys as a community to build up a big fat stack of money. And for one of you, very lucky one of you, to win that stack of money. Not literally have the money, but to win the money to spend at Games Workshop or Forge World, or if you're in the UK or EU, Goblin Gaming. Basically, it's changed a little bit. In the past, you could contribute to the big fat pot of cash various different ways. But if you want to do it now, there's only one way to do it now. If you want to contribute to the community chest, as it were, and also knock some of George's health down, you need to do a tip to the tip jar, which is down there, streamlabs.com/model making guru. That's how you get money into the pot and also take some of George's health off. Every time you put a tip in the tip jar, it takes some of George's health off. The more you put in the tip jar, the more health comes off. Whoever gets him to 0 health becomes the new stream boss and inherits all the money that's gone in the tip jar. I just put that money to one side. And it builds up and builds up and builds up until somebody gets the final little bit of health off, and that person then gets all that money to spend at GW or Forge World. Now, George is the new stream boss. He won last week, and he won himself, what was it now, $580, just shy, I think, something like that. I've just ordered it for him yesterday. Everything is chosen. $580 worth of stuff. So you see how much you can win in the chest. So basically, if you want to play that game, it's all about building up the chest and one lucky person at the very end. It's all about tactics and when you choose to do it. One lucky person who becomes a new stream boss will win all that money you've built up. So it's something to play as a community. But super chats don't contribute towards that anymore. They used to. Google's payment system is a nightmare. They don't anymore. That just helps support my channel, helps support me, and this channel keeps this channel going. So we'll wait for you to help keep this channel going. Anyway, a lot of breathless, I'm doing all that stuff. Hang on. I hate all the preamble that isn't actually the show. It's just all the stuff we have to get through at the start. So yes, anyway, welcome. We're going to be cracking on with the Plague Burst Crawler today. Let's have a quick look at the chatty chat and see who we have in, or some of who we have in. Let me just... Oh, come on, iPad. There we go. Right, so I think Pascal may have been first, but I don't go all the way back to the start, unfortunately. The first person I see in chat is Nim, so welcome, Nim. That was from a little while ago. I'm just going to move that because it's in my way. We have Nim and Chris at Gross Models, who's one of your mods. We have Mordraka09. Candygram from Mongo is in. Eric Graham and Dad, another one of your mods. Your mods tonight are, at the moment, Dad and Chris from Gross Models. They are very lovely chaps. There will be... Hello. It's weird. Pop out. We stay safe in streams. They are lovely, lovely folks, and they will look after you and keep you protected and safe and make sure you don't come to any harm in the chat. But if you cross them, they will kill you. So be nice. We have Eric Graham is in. Welcome, Eric. Quano Man. Gemma Williams is in. Welcome, Gemma. Welcome. We have... Who else have we got? I mentioned Dad, didn't I? Welcome, Dad. Eric Graham. We've got Jamie Bone is in. Welcome, Jamie. Chicken or beef or lamb? I'm going to guess chicken. Roast chicken. We have Skullfish is in. Welcome, Skullfish. Says a very simple opening. Afternoon all. We have Just Django is in. Just Django, of course, is just Django. It's not just Django. It's just Django is the name, Django. But they put Just Django, so you know not to call them Just Django, just Django, because it's just Django, not just Django, but just. Moving on. The Orc Boys, good afternoon. Welcome, the Orc Boys. We have Gaz Vickers is in. Oh, Canada, your land is Gert Boo Yanks. Your land is Gert Boo Yanks. You may have misspelled that and killed the joke, I think. Afternoon all, says Gaz. We have, who else is coming? Wayne Haywood is in. Welcome, Wayne. Airport 10001 or 10,001. Hi everyone, a newbie here to the stream and world to Warhammer 40k and also to miniature painting. Awesome, you knew everything. We like this. Awesome sauce. Welcome. You're more than welcome. Just so you know, I'll do a lot of waffling in this stream and not a lot of building. It's just more that it's kind of the way this stream is. It's more just a hangout, but it's fun. But do stick around. If you're not familiar, you probably know it, but as you're new to miniature painting and Warhammer and everything else, I do have a group on Facebook. I shall put a link in the chat. It may be delayed by 30 seconds. The Model Makers Boom Hut. If you're looking for help and advice, of course, you can ask me while on my stream. You can ask anybody in chat. They'll help you. But also, do go and join the Model Makers Boom Hut if you're on Facebook. It's an awesome place. There's 3,500, 4,000 members. They'll all look after you and they'll all give you loads of tons of helpful use and advice. We include award-winning miniature painters in there. There's Golden Demon winners in there, so it's always worth asking questions. There's never, just keep in mind, the most important thing to know, there are never any stupid questions. There are stupid people asking questions, but there's never any stupid questions, and no question is stupid. So don't be afraid to ask any question. We have Chris and Dad saying welcome to Airport. Frankie Goes to Hollywood is in. Welcome, Frankie. Dad said moist. We have Snowman HFC, Scale Model Muse. Welcome to both of you. Dad did ask the important question, so I'll come back in a second to that. Space Hamster ZH. The Warhammer Painter, watching this while driving a tractor. I can't pass that. You shouldn't be doing that and doing this. You should be paying attention to what you... I can't even, I can't comprehend how you'd even hear it, but never mind. Thank you for watching, but do drive carefully. You might be in a field, but you could still run over a, cow or farm or horse or something. Just be careful. Let's have a look. We have ATTG is in. Welcome afternoon all. Welcome ATTG. Gaz Vickers says, yeah, bloody phone. Also Widge. We have Pascal is in. Of course, Pascal was here about hours ago. Let's have a look. Okay, I think that's everybody so far in chat. So Dad did ask the very important question. We'll do that very quickly. Dad did ask the question, what's on your bench and what's in your belly? Bench and belly. What's on your bench, what you're working on right now, and what's in your belly, what are you planning for your dinner, or what have you had for your dinner? Now, we've started a tradition. I've put a post up today because Paul's skiving off somewhere. I've put a post up in the Model Makers Boom Hut for today's live stream. It's just a bench and belly post, but you can use it for anything. If you're talking about something in chat with somebody and you want to show a picture, you can put the post in there. Use it as the general picture sort of bin for the live chat. So if you're watching this and you're in the live chat having a good conversation, if you need to show someone something, use the post that's in the Boom Hut. It'll be at the top somewhere by now. But it's the bench and belly post. It's not just for bench and belly, it's for anything. Anything if you just want to, share stuff because you can't do pictures in chat. So very, very quickly, let's see what people are saying to bench and belly. Mordraka says, belly, Angus beef lasagna. Angus beef is the best beef, and therefore you're correct. Bench, not sure. He's looking through the pile of shame. By the way, I have to say, of course, there are quite a few of you who I know you very well, but I don't know. I only know your YouTube name, so I may not know if you're a boy or a girl, because sometimes your names aren't specific. So if you are a he and I say she, or you are a she and I say he, I do apologise. Don't be offended. It's just because when your name is XX Sniper BD45XX OXOL LOL, I don't know if you're a he or a she, so I do get it wrong sometimes. And sometimes I know and I get it wrong because I'm rubbish. Gaz Vicker says, my son James is watching today. He's smelly. That's a bit rude. But you could throw him a bath or a shower. Throw him a sponge and see what happens. Welcome, James. I'm sure you're not smelly at all. Something happened. My lad James wants to say hi. Young Mr. Fox says, Gaz, thank you very much, Gaz. That's very, very kind. And welcome. I've just been talking about how he's probably not smelly, and you're just a cruel man. Let's have a look. And he does say a few times, Mail, this son says hi. If I do make a comment, by the way, if you put something in chat and I don't spot it, because I might miss a lot of stuff, do just give it a few minutes and post it again in caps or do a super chat or something like that. I will get to it eventually, but I will miss a lot because chat does move. Scale model Muse on the bench, Reaper and such, about to make coffee, just woke up. Cool. You woke up and I was the first thing you saw. Yeah, you don't want to think about that. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. Nim Cinderine says, Merry early Christmas or whatever you celebrate. Yes, Merry end of December. Happy holidays all, says Muse. We'll get to that later. Eric Graham says, belly, grilled cheese sandwich, bench, Deathwatch, kill team and Marauder destroyers. Cool. Big Charlie's Model Garage is in, says, howdy, welcome Big Charlie's Model Garage. Let's have a look. What else we've got? Bench and belly. Nim says, bench, same thing as always, Supernova Shenlong. Belly, a big bowl of cookie crisp. It's always the cereal, isn't it, with you? I noticed this when you're watching my stream, it's always cereal. I'm going to guess somebody mentioned waffles because Chris says waffles, but I don't see anybody talking about waffles. Skullfish says potato waffles. And of course, now in my head, all I've got is bird's eye potato waffles, waffly versatile. That's in my head now, thank you. Chris at Gross Model says, the Boom Hut approval team is waiting for your call. Yes, if you're not a member already, go and join the Model Makers Boom Hut, the link I put in the chat. It's a closed group, so you have to be approved to join, but we let everybody in. So fairly quickly, someone will approve you and let you in, so don't worry. Django says, bench, HD00 Quant, that's waiting for a Mr. Mark Softer to put decals on, and belly, lasagna. Pascal says, bench, resin figure, Rory from Gate. Belly croquette on some bread. Ooh. Fox, the link didn't come up. Did my buttons not work? Let me try again then. I pressed the Boom Hut button again. Give it 20 seconds. Oh, it did come up, actually. Just after you said it didn't come up. So I've pressed it twice now. Never mind. Teach me to read ahead, wouldn't it? Old Boy says, belly green pot noodle. This is the correct pot noodle. If you've not seen it, there is a video on this very channel, on my channel, how to make the perfect pot noodle. I don't know what playlist it's in. It might be in my how-to playlist. So go, when you finish watching this, go to my main YouTube page, click on playlists and go to how-to. I've got a guide, how to make the perfect green pot noodle. Bench, he says the York Boys finished the Colossal Squig, started the Arachnarock Spider. Yeah, he just finished a Colossal Squig, done a little diorama of a guy running away from it. It's brilliant. Go and check it out in the Boom Hut. The Warhammer Painter says, it's got a GPS, so I only have to turn around at the corners. I assume you're typing in capitals because it's really loud and you have to shout. Yeah, I only have to turn around at the corners. I guess what are you doing? Are you doing the ploughing on the field to get the turning the earth? It's a bit late in the year for that, isn't it? What are you doing in December in a field with? I don't know. I'm not a farm person, so I don't know what you'd be doing. Hello, more things. Nim says it's breakfast time here, plus cereal is delicious. I cannot argue with that. Cereal is fantastic. Thank you very much for that, Nim. Yeah, what are you doing in a field with a tractor in December? What happens in a field? Unless, of course, you're in a country on the bottom half of the world where it's summer and not winter. That would make sense. Do explain. Chris at Gross Models says, barbecue Rustler's burger for lunch. Yes, Rustler's burger, 60 seconds, 90 seconds, whatever. They're great. They're trash food, but they're fantastic. Barbecue Rustler's burger, just finished the latest X-Wing issue on the bench. Yes, I've got issues 10 and 11 of mine just turned up yesterday. Quana Man says, I can't remember what's on my bench and totally deny anything in my belly. Wayne Highwood says, belly egg sarnie. Ooh, pop, you'll have some farty times later on. Bench finishing the Christmas Sherman with Santa Claus. Cool. Airport says, bench the first intercessor I've ever painted. Belly soon to be meat pie, chips and baked beans. This is correct, meat pie. Excellent. Intercessors. Space Marines are actually quite a good thing to start with because they're not too complicated to paint. It's not like painting like a Gene Stealer cultist or a Skitari or something, or a complicated Lord of War. They're quite good to start with Space Marines because there's lots of different colour schemes, but also they're just fairly straightforward. You can have a lot of fun. You can practice different shading techniques. And just remember, I don't know where you are, Airport, but if you're in the UK, or even if you're in the US, if you go a bit wrong, or if you're not happy with what you've done, the best thing about Warhammer is, if you go wrong, you can just strip all the paint off and start again. We've all do it. We've all got like a load of little figures that we have sitting around for testing. And because it's your first lot of Warhammer and your first sort of brush painting, don't worry about it. Don't think too seriously about it. Just have fun. And when you've finished it, if you think, oh, it's not that great, just strip all the paint off and start again. I personally, for Warhammer stripping, I use Dettol. If you're in the UK, just go and get a bottle of Dettol from Tesco's or Sainsbury's. I do have an Amazon store. There's a couple of links in the description below. You can get Dettol from there. Also, my US Amazon store, I've got Dettol in there. I know, I managed to find Dettol on US Amazon. So, yeah, it's also a way for you to support this channel. But, yeah, Dettol. So, don't worry. Have fun with it. Just play with it. Try different things out. And if it goes a bit wrong, strip it off. Give it a few hours to soak in Dettol. Rinse it off when you're finished. Let it dry overnight. Try painting again. Good fun. It's all fun. Chat just jumped. Chris says, it's fun when Fox meets you for the first time and does the Crocodile Dundee boy-girl check. Oh, you've given it away now. The secret's gone now. They're always calling me buddy. I just giggle, says Scale Model Muse. Well, I know you're a girl. I know you and Nim are girls. I know Gemma's a girl, obviously. I know Chris is a boy and Dad's a boy. But there are some where I don't know. I don't know who's what. And I just have to kind of say dude a lot, or buddy. So I'll just tend to say dude. It doesn't mean I'm saying dude because I think you're a bloke. If I call somebody dude, if I say dude-er, I'm just being friendly. If I say dude, it means I can't remember if you're a boy or a girl. Little handy hint for you. Let's have a look. Spid is in. Welcome, Spid. Right then, says Spid. Are we all ready to talk about what happens in... No, we're not talking about Star Wars. No Star Wars spoilers in chat. Here's a warning, Anna, because I know somebody will do it. If anybody puts a spoiler for the new Star Wars thing in chat, you will be blocked instantly. Notice to my mods, if anybody puts... Because I haven't seen it yet, but I'm not thinking of me. I'm thinking of anybody else who may not have seen it yet. Serious business. If anybody puts a proper spoiler in there, and Chris has seen it, so Chris will know. If anybody puts any proper spoilers in there, it'll be deleted and you'll be timed out. And if you keep doing it, you may get banned. So I know it sounds really serious, but there's people that take this really quite seriously. I don't want anything to be ruined. Also, I don't want to read it. I've not seen it yet. I'm not going to see it for ages. Oh. So your ass will be grass if you put any spoilers in. Blue chow mein is the bestest, says Spid. Spid, you know nothing about pot noodles. You're clearly a heathen. Let's have a look. Edward Leonard says, the bench is the dank hole Troggoth. That's a beautiful, beautiful kit. You can have a lot of fun with that, doing glazes and washes and things. There's a lot of potential in that. It makes a beautiful painted statuette when it's finished. That's the one thing I do like about some of the Sigmar stuff. I'm not really into Sigmar, but some of their big character models are incredible. Just the amount of detail and organic curves. I've got a really sniffly nose. I do apologise. I'm kind of wiping my nose. Space Hamster says, bench Skaven Doomheel and Creature Caster King of War. Belly, don't know yet. Here we go. Warhammer Painter explains, tillage, getting the ground ready to plant spring barley. I'm in Lincolnshire, England. Is Lincolnshire like that? Is it like that with the farming and the tractor, or is that too far south? I don't know. I don't even know where Lincolnshire is, but this sounds appropriate for farming and doing tractors and stuff. I do apologise. Yes, I wondered if you're doing the, you're making you're turning yeah, I know what you're doing. You're digging big holes, big troughs. Cool. So is it, you say it's all sat nav, do you have to actually physically do any work, or are you just sitting there while it auto? Can you just set the tractor to drive by itself? That'd be cool. Speed says, bench coffee and model making guru. Belly, tuna mayo sarnie and coffee. By mayo I do of course mean salad cream. Excellent. Airport is in Devon. All right, then I had the right accent then, didn't I? That's all right then. Well, I'm in Devon, I am. In that case, yes, I do have a UK and a US Amazon store, so you want to pick some Dettol up and you can't be bothered getting out to Tesco's or Asda. If you don't want to go outside in the cold, you can get it off Amazon. Let's have a look. Are we sure about Chris? Says Eric when I said Chris is obviously a boy. I am, I just checked. Ew! Speedy Curate says, there are boys and there are girls, and there's me, who is currently a gender fluid class 5 full roaming vapor. Yeah, I have that sometimes. It really, yeah. Let's have a look. Nim says, spoiler, someone says, I have a bad feeling about this. I think we can all guess that's going to happen. What else we've got going to chat? Coming to the end. I did see someone in one Facebook group that got cross with someone spoiling by saying there are lots of ships in it. Well, that's just pathetic, because that's not a spoiler, is it? Org Boys asks if anyone in chat has been watching The Witcher. I'm 6 episodes in. No, I must watch that. I've just finished watching season 4 of The Expanse. Enormous coffee. Season 4 of The Expanse, which is awesome. Awesome! I've just finished watching The Mandalorian. Well, I've still got episode 7 when that goes up. I'm not finished, not seen that yet. I've not seen The Witcher yet. Gaz Vicker says, I'm not much more than a hangover today. Yes, that's a class 5 roaming vapor as well. Yes. Yes, Mandalorian and Expanse, I do recommend them. Right, so today we are going to crack on or work with the Plague Burst Crawler. I'm just moving things out the way with my chair. Hang on. Now, if you're not familiar, this is the part of the Warhammer Conquest part work, which is 80 issues spread over 2 years. In which you build up both an entire Death Guard army and an entire Imperial Space Marines army. And I'm up to issue 41, which is this one. The plan is, I was going to be filming these and filming the painting. Some of the episodes would just follow the magazine painting guides, and some will be proper grown-up painting guides. But I realised it was a colossal waste of time. I don't need to show you how to paint the same way the magazine says. So what I've done is I've abandoned that. I'm just going to get everything built, and then once everything's been built and we've had the last issue come through the post and there's no more to be received, I'll then start filming the painting guides and everything will be painted properly. So all the stuff you've seen me paint so far in the Warhammer Conquest video series, that'll all be stripped. All those little Space Marines and Death Guard, they'll all be stripped back and started again. So it's going to be a proper paint job for everybody. Now, I do have to, of course, I always have to do this because it's only thanks to the very big, massive kindness of George, who is your current stream boss, I should add, that I am actually doing this part work. He's helping fund the part work. And what's going to happen is, I'm going to get parts 1, 3 and 54. What's going to happen is that when it's finished and everything's been painted, we're actually going to split this. So I'm going to get the Death Guard, and he is going to take ownership of the Space Marines. And it's good, I like that, because the good thing about that is I don't have to paint them like flipping Ultramarines, which is boring. Sorry, Dave. That was the other thing that was putting me off, is the magazine was having you paint them like Ultramarines, and that's really not interesting. Something else would be much better. Right, so these instructions are in just the wrong place. I'm going to put these instructions up here. So yeah, so George is going to take ownership of the Space Marines, and I'm going to get ownership of the Death Guards. So what I'll probably do is paint all the Space Marine stuff first and film all that, and then paint all the Death Guard stuff afterwards. Let's get George's bits done first. So massive thank you to George, who makes this entire thing possible. So this Warhammer Sunday live stream for the next 3 or 4 months, 5 or 6 months, will be me working on all these bits. Where's the numbers? Which way? I can't. My brain's not in gear today. There's no number on this bit. It is part number 1. There we go. Yeah, so for the next few months, it'll be me assembling everything. Like I say, once I've got everything assembled, I can then start to paint everything up. Now, so far, we're up to issue 41, and I have filled, with miniatures, about 1.5 skirmish cases. So, just to give you an idea of how many we've had so far, I'm going to need to get another skirmish case, because I had to sacrifice one of my skirmish cases to send my Imperial Knight and stuff off that I sold. This is part number 3. So I've got the line, half the liner of a skirmish case full of dudes. But of course there's going to be a lot of vehicles, so it's going to be tricky for me to figure out where exactly I'm going to put all these models before I paint them all. That's the skillful, tricky bit, you see. Where do I put everything? Old Boy says, Fox, careful with the tracks. The box kit instructions told you to put the tracks on the wrong way round. Not sure about Conquest, though. They will be exactly the same instructions, so I will double check that. I always loose fit them anyway, but thank you for that. Oh, smelly, spiky, tanky thingy, says Skullfish. Do. Off to get food, says Airport. We'll be back in about an hour if you're still here. Yep, I go for 3 hours. I go till 6 o'clock when it's tea time. Chris apparently has a leak. I don't even want to know about that. See you, Airport. He's here until 6. We'll have to check you out later. Yes, I'll be here till 6 PM, so I'm sure we'll catch up again in a bit. Right, I need to put my helmet of seeing on. But thank you for coming in so far, and we'll see you in a bit, Airport. Don't forget to join the Model Makers Boom Hut. I'm sure one of the mods will get you approved and joined fairly quickly. So where's my centre of cap? There we go. There's my centre of view. So how are you all? How have you all been? I'm fine, thank you. We're all fine here now, thank you. So yes. So how are you all? Hope you're all well. If you're in the UK, I hope you've not been flooded out anywhere. Not been affected here. We've had kind of nice weather here. But some parts of the UK have been horribly flooded, so I hope you've not been affected by that. If you're in the Australias, I hope you've not been affected. I know you've got massive heat over there right now, middle of your summer, heat waves and all that, but I know some of you have been affected by all the burn, all the fires and stuff, so do stay safe if you're in the Australias. I was saying earlier on in the chat that I normally envy people that have got nice hot summer days when it's winter here, but maybe not right at the moment. But yes. Okay, so that's those bits done there. I need to denub them so now I can clean them up. There is my knife of Stabity. It is here. There we have a knife of Stabity. I was recapping the series of movies and talking to my son about Han cutting open the Tauntaun in Empire to put Luke in. He asked why. It's an old joke, this. I said, to keep him warm and save him. He said, how warm is it inside the Tauntaun? I said, well, lukewarm at least. I'm good, but my car is dead, says Mewd. Some moron hit me, so looking for a new ride. I'm sorry to hear that. Hopefully everybody was insured. And that's all hopefully sorted out. Hopefully it wasn't like a drink drive or something stupid like that. Yes, it's time for me to wield the knife of Stabity, so put your bets in, folks. I'm already nursing one hand injury, but that's like a little hangnail thing there, a little bit of skin that's flaked a little bit and it's hanging off. But it's really painful. I can't just pull it off because it's like too hurty. And that's just, I don't know what's done that. That's just a little bit of skin I've caught on something, I think. Little hangnail. Right, I'm having trouble seeing today. I don't quite know why. Let's have a think. What have I been up to? What news has been newsing? Since we last met on last week's show. Previously on Warhammer Sundays. I finished off whatever it was I was building last week. The dude. The intercessor, librarian, space, whatever he was. The librarian dude, I think. I finished him off. What else have we been doing? Cracking on with the Sazabi, of course. That's a very slow progress. I premiered a new stream series yesterday, Sidewinder Saturdays, in which I am playing Elite Dangerous. But what I'm going to be doing is basically starting from scratch is the plan, and just building up my ship and getting all the equipment to go on a big explore in the Milky Way. But the limitation is I'm only using the ship I start with, the Sidewinder that you start the game with. I can't use any other ship. I have to use that ship, and I'm limiting myself to that one ship. So it should be interesting. So that's a new Saturday stream series, 3 PM on Saturdays. We'll see how long that lasts. Yeah. What else has been going on? Trying to think now. So far, I don't seem to have won the lottery. It's quite frustrating. I don't suddenly seem to have a lot of money in my bank account, which is, you know, frustrating. So, come on, National Lottery, sort it out. What else has been going on this week? Not a lot going on this week, other than that. Right, all my equipment's on the wrong side of the desk. Hang on. Right, let's just... All my specialist tools need to be over there, because that's just silly having them somewhere else. I've put the camera in just the wrong place, so it guarantees I knock it with my head every time I look up. Fantastic. Let's try and move over sideways a bit. We have a little bit of filey here. Trying to think what else has been going on. Nothing else really to report that I can think of. Nothing particularly interesting. Just family stuff at the moment, which is always fun. But how about you guys? What have you guys been up to? Hopefully you're all... Either you're off work, hopefully, or you're about to get time off work. I know some of you are going to be working over Christmas. It's always the... When I used to... Various office jobs I've had in the past, I used to work over Christmas every now and then. I didn't really mind it that much, because you got paid overtime and stuff, so... It was never a major problem. It was a pain, but... I guess it depends on what your job is. How's that looking? That's not too bad. I shall have a look at the chat in a moment. So we're just cleaning off the little nubbins. You would be surprised how much or how often I see Warhammer builds where basic cleanup hasn't been done. And it does seem that especially with Warhammer, even on really well painted stuff, you'll find nubs and seam lines, and it's like, it does seem for some reason that just with Warhammer, all the traditional sort of rules of model making, all the things that you do as a matter of course, like, you know, filling gaps and seams and things, they do seem to kind of get ignored or missed. And I know a lot of people will just get them painted quickly for the tabletop, and that makes sense. But it's when they're painted carefully and delicately for display more than anything else. When you see a fantastic paint job and it's got big fat nubs, and I think to myself, well, the person obviously knows how to make and paint a model because they've done a good job. But they've missed that and they've missed that. It's really weird because, you know, for traditional model makers, it's just standard practice. It's SOP, standard operating procedure, to clean stuff up. But it seems to get forgotten a lot on miniatures. But I just view them, I don't view these any differently as, you know, to normal models. So I don't see them as different to normal models, although they may get played on the tabletop, which can bring its own challenges. That's there. Working on, more Dragger says, working on Conquest 34 in the Connect Games Workshop grey plastic. That's the librarian, is it? I think. And the dangle on the cloak is broken off. Yeah, I had one of those. What I tend to do is if it's like a rope with a thing on the end, just get rid of it altogether. Doesn't really matter. If it's like a banner or a ribbon, I had one on the Death Guard something or other. I had like a banner coming off the side, a big wide, like a scarf almost, coming off the side, and it snapped. So what I did was, because it was Death Guard, I just kind of chopped into the end of it where it snapped with a couple of sort of nips of the cutters, and it looked like frayed material, so it looked like it had just been ripped and frayed. So you kind of got away with it, but it was Death Guard. Wouldn't really work on a Space Marine if you did that, I suppose. I will come and read the chat in a moment. I'm just cracking on for time being. Trying to think what else has been going on in the world that's worth talking about, and I don't mean politics and stuff like that. So think. Yes, I've up to date on the Mandalorian. Just episode 7 to come. So, and then it'll be done for this season, and I've really enjoyed it. I'm not going to give any spoilers, obviously, but I really enjoyed it. So if it's not available where you are just yet, when it does become available, I really do strongly recommend it. It's really good. It's really good. Oh, got itch. What else? I was rather disheartened to learn. I watched the first episode of the new Grand Tour. Grand Tour Seaman. Where it had the first episode where I won't say what happens in case you've not watched it. And I was like, brilliant, new series of Grand Tour, fantastic. But then I found out, I read somewhere, I know they're only doing the specials now for the Grand Tour, which is fine because everybody likes the specials. There's a lot of the regular shows they skip past, but the specials, everybody likes the specials. And I thought, that's all right, give us, little specials each year, just a series of just the specials, little adventures. That'd be fantastic. No, it's going to be 2 specials a year for the next 2 years. That's the current contract, apparently. So they've just done one now, because it was last week, and I came in yesterday and said, right, what's the next episode? There isn't one. We're only going to get that one that has just been on. There'll be another one, probably, I guess, within the next 6 months, at some point, unspecified. And then nothing, and then another one in 6 months after that. So basically, we've got 3 more over the next year and a half, 2 years. Wow, that's suddenly really sad. Because I like me the threesome, but hey, oh well. And after that, who knows? But there's James May's series on Japan due out in January. That should be quite good because I think James May's awesome. Looking forward to that. Trying to think what else has been going on. Finished watching The Man in the High Castle. That's a very strange ending. It was a very strange last season. It lost some of its power, I think, in the last season. It's still very good, but it just somehow lost something, I think. And ending was sort of classic ending with lots more questions. Then I won't say anything because I don't want to give any spoilers. But yeah, the ending was a little bit weird, and it left me with a question. I was sat there, I was brushing my teeth the other day, and I'm like, hang on a minute, if that happened, because I won't say what happened, but if X happens, there's a logistical issue with the internal logic of Man in the High Castle that makes no sense at all. That, as I'm thinking about it now, I realise I can't talk about because it gives too much away. Quick look at chat. Let's have a look. Candyman from Mongo says, Star Wars non-spoiler story. I went to a house party last night and the guy who puppeteered Nien Nunb was there. Wow, he's a really nice fellow. Wow, that's awesome. Nien Nunb, the co-pilot in the Falcon in Jedi. I know who Nien Nunb was. Awesome. Scale Model Mew says, insured but not insured. I'll start again. She says, insured enough but not enough to replace my car. 18 years old driving his mom's minivan. Stupid mess. Well, if he's insured, he's insured. The insurance should just pay for anything. If your car's a write-off, his insurance should pay for it. Unless you've got really bad insurance. Space Hamster says, I just dunked my brush in my tea. Yes, well done. One of us. Dad says, Retributor armor on the brush space. I don't know what that means. Having trouble with the scrolling here for some reason. Chris says, shh, I need to get back to Elite. Yes. Not sure what the conversation's talking about. I need to buy a lotto ticket. More Draka has bent his dangle off. It's all about the angle of dangle. Scale model Muse says I've almost ruined my coffee a few times. Hope you get sorted, Muse. Great time of the year for that to happen, but glad to hear you're not hurt. Oh, I see. Yeah, Retributor armor, as in he's put his Retributor armor in the tea. And Hamster says, no, lead belcher tastes funny. Could have been worse. Tell you what, if you're a brush licker like me, and Spaced Hamster says I'm a self-professed brush licker. If you are a brush licker, you only, like, you know, you work in your pet and you get a point on your brush. It takes one time only to learn not to do that with Agrax Earthshade. You only do it once with Agrax Earthshade. You never do it again. Muse has got a few cars to look at on Monday. Good luck. Try and get on with Sharkmouth. It always makes cars better. I've got a Sharkmouth on mine and nobody's ever crashed into me. Speed says, I'm slightly annoyed about getting the one present I ordered that I actually need for Christmas Day arriving, and it's the only one that's not here yet. Dope. Clean up is hard on tiny things, Foxy says Muse. Models have tiny things. This isn't tiny, this is huge. Eon's car said something and then retracted it. Nubs, mould lines and non-drilled out barrels. Grr, says Orc Boys. Eon's car says, working on putting away all my Conquest issues from the Rhino one to the latest. Some of my little ghostly dudes are missing the bit on top of their cemetery gates. It bugs me. Is that snappage or forgettage? Eon's car says, yeah, done up to issues 43, but built most of them up to issue 50 or so. Speedy Curate says he's boring because he used to like Top Gear when it had reviews. I bet you like peas as well, don't you? Warhammer Paint says, after this Conquest, they are doing another one for Sigmar. Warhammer Painter says, they're actually already going to do it. I think it launches in January, Sigmar. So, yes, they are doing an Age of Sigmar equivalent to this. It's got whatever the hell the golden dudes are called, Sigmarines, whatever, the dudes of the gold and the shining with the heart and the yeah, it's got them and it's got the skeleton dudes. So it's the same kind of deal. It's two armies kind of thing, and I would suspect like that Conquest is going to be massive value for money. It's coming out in January. Brushlicker sounds like what level 1 model builder would be in Dungeons and Dragons, says Candygram. Yeah. Snappage Foxy. Oh yeah. I've got like, how many dudes have I got where it's either a Death Guard dude or an Imperial like Space Marine where they've got the shield generator above the head with the spikes on it. Yeah, they've always snapped off. And when you get like a weapon with a dangly pendant, that snaps off. Yeah, I hate little dangly details like that because they don't last. They always fall off. Right, so let's do some buildage. So this needs to go on there, like that, you'll see. This goes on here, like that. That attaches to here. Most pleasing. That goes on there. Somehow. Wow, Depeche Mode, there's a blast from the past. I don't know where that just came from. Holy cow. Oh, spoons. Let's do some liquiding first. Liquiding. You may have seen a picture I put in the Boom Hut earlier today. If you watched my Elite Dangerous stream yesterday, I was lamenting the fact that pretty much every paint job and every piece of body kit and everything you can do to make anything interesting on the Sidewinder is locked behind the gift store, the cosmetics only store. And I was bemoaning this. Like, oh, I can't even get spoilers on my Sidewinder or anything. Can't even get an outfit for me, dude. Yeah, I just bought the loads of stuff last night. I was like, you know what? Here's money, Frontier. Just take my money and give me spoilers and bumpers and little dangly letters for me dashboard and things, and just take my money. So I did that last night. So the Squishy Widge If you don't know what it is, like I said, I'm playing using only the starting Sidewinder ship, and it's called the Squishy Widge. So the good ship Squishy Widge is our vehicle du choice. Use the thick glue on this build, not the thin, says Mordraka. Why? It seems fairly sturdy. Oops. The thin glue actually gives you a better grip. It welds the plastic more than the thin glue anyway, that's the way around. Oak Boy says, just taking the woofers out for a squelch in the mud. Hey woofers! I can't use the thick glue. It's like, other than for little bits, it hurts me to use the thick glue because I get flashbacks to being a kid and using stuff out of a tube. I can't cope with it. It makes me sad. George is in. Our new stream. Everybody behave. Our stream boss is in the building. The boss is in. Ooh, Kelly Grocott. Woohoo, says Dad. Yes. If you didn't watch the test stream the other day, or today, I customized the pilot in Elite Dangerous, and it kind of ended up looking just like Kelly Grocott from ELO in the 1970s. 1970s Kelly. Oh, I didn't realise that he died in 2009, but it came out looking like him, just sort of. So yeah. Oh boys, what you need to do is to get, you say you're taking the woofers out. We need pictures of the woofers in the thread in the boom hut. If you weren't here earlier on, what we're doing every Sunday now is, as well as being in the chat, which is here, as well as being in the chat, there'll be a dedicated post in the boom hut every Sunday where you can post up pictures of your bench and belly, so you know what you're working on, what you're eating, but you can also post up pictures of anything else that we've been talking about in chat, because there's nowhere to put pictures in chat. So yeah, do make sure to go and put a picture of your puppers in the chat so we can look at them, because everybody likes puppers. Yeah, Mordraka, what's wrong with the thin glue on this one? Do tell me. You've obviously built this. I will take your advice, see what I need to do. Let's have a look. Everybody's saying hi. JS Idaho is in. Out of state moving. No internet for a month is not fun. Wonder where you've been. Yes. Hey JS. Anyway, how you doing, George? Hope you are well, my friend. A number of very nice boxes of goodies on the way to George. Right, so next we need to do add the floor, which is this one here. Yes, I'm not ignoring your advice, Mordraka. It's just I hate using thick glue for anything other than like absolutely necessary. So do fill me in on the scenario here, because the thick glue doesn't give you as good a grip, doesn't weld as efficiently as the thin. So it's a lot like the arms and legs on the Marines for the mortar and chassis. Oh right, okay. So you've got like things trying to support their own weight. Okay, cool. That makes sense. If it's a support issue, then yes, it makes sense to use the thick. Let me just trim these a little bit. What else has been going on? I don't know. There's a lot of stress marks on this. Now I know we've spoken about this before. I know this isn't plastic that's manufactured by Games Workshop in Nottingham. These sprues, although they are the Games Workshop sprues and kits and moulds, well, not specifically the moulds, but although they are the Games Workshop kits, they're not actually made in Nottingham where Games Workshop make all their stuff. If you didn't know, if you go to Warhammer World in Nottingham, that's where 100% of Games Workshop's products are made. It's all made in the head office. But these, from what I've been able to find out, are made elsewhere. They're very good. It's a slightly different plastic. It's a bit more brittle and a little softer, but the detail is fantastic. It's very, very good. They've obviously given somebody access to the moulds to copy them, I guess, and authorise them to print them. But from what I've been able to find out, they're not made by GW. But for some reason, these particular parts have stress marks. Like all around the bottom there. You might not see them, but all around the bottom there, and there's some around here. The plastic looks like it's been stressed. It's like a light white. It's like a light coloured, a light green sort of line. Very strange. Marcus Mayer says, greetings from Germany. Welcome, welcome, Marcus. Thank you for coming along. Is that the Plague Burst Crawler Fox, asks JS. Yes, it is. I'm finally up to this. I'm up to issue 41 now in the Warhammer Conquestings. So yes, we're finally up to the Plague Burst Crawler, which I did find the instructions for after shouting at GW a lot, Hershey a lot, and bemoaning the fact and mailing them to say, hey, you've got some mission instructions. I found them. They'd somehow slipped out of the magazine and appeared in one of the other magazines. I don't quite know how. They were perfectly nestled within issue like 47 or something. I don't quite know how it had done that. So I hold up my hands and say, my bad. My bad. Right. Looks like a neat kit, says Marcus. Says JS. It'll look like that when it's finished. It's like a little stubby death spud with a little big fat gun. That was going to make no sense at all, Fox, if you'd finished that sentence. A little big fat gun. Yes. Welcome to how my brain actually occasionally works. Right, so this needs to go on there. Now, what I need to do here is two honking great... Well, these things at the front are going to have a massive seam line going down the middle. Yeah, that's going to be fun. Let's just look ahead and see what goes, because it might be, I don't have to worry about that too much, what goes on there. See, I don't mind not filling in gaps and seams when you can't actually even remotely see what it is you're filling in. However, they do appear to be on the back. And from what I can tell, there's nothing covering them up at all. Fantastic. So what we're going to have to do, we're going to have to do some corrective stuff on that, I think. But do death spuds, says George Gabriel. Yeah, death spud. I'm going to magnetise a Plague Burst Crawler when I get round to building it, says Jan's car. Osric is in. Welcome, Osric. Says, okay, I'm here now. You may begin. Underdog Painting is in. Hello, guys. Welcome, Underdog. That's the rear behind the mortar. Yep. Hope everyone is doing well today, says Underdog. Yes. Fox, you can't see any significant gaps on that kit. Well, apart from... How's that going now? Hello, Special. I can't get it in. Apart from them, you will see that because there's a huge seam there. And right around the middle of those little exhaust bits on the back. So I will have to do some corrective filling on those, I think. And I think it'll just be a bit of spruga. Because keep in mind, the beauty of this is it is Death Guard. So it's not going to be a nice, crisp and clean build. It's going to be made to look like Bish. It's going to be, whatever colour scheme I decide to do it, it's going to be made out to be rotten and rusty and big splub of glue there, corroded and kind of knackered and not in a good shape. So there's a certain amount I can get away with more than normal. We're just going to get this glued for the moment. We'll worry about thumbprint in the glue. There you go. Yeah, we can clean that up later. There's always got to be at least one thumbprint. You're not a proper modeler unless you get your thumb covered in glue somewhere on the model and get a big fat thumbprint on it. It is the order of things. It's a rite of passage when it comes to model making. So yeah, so it's not too much of the end of the world here, because there are going to be lots of areas of corrosion and decrepitude. I like that word, decrepitude and things. So if I'm a bit heavy with the filling or the sanding or anything like that, or filing anywhere on this, it's not the end of the world. Because I can work my way around it. And also, the other thing to consider as well, keep in mind the whole basis of my entire channel is trying to show you the easiest way to get good results. And one of the easiest ways to fill little gaps, if you're looking at something that's got like a gap or a seam gap or anything like that, and you're thinking, how the hell am I going to fill that? That's impossible. One of the easiest things you can do, it does depend on the subject of the kit, is use plastic card to add panels that weren't there to cover up seam lines. I've done it myself many times, and there's nothing wrong with being creative and a little bit lazy. So for example here, where you've got this big seam line here, it's not hard to get to, But if I wanted to, I could use some plastic card to create a greeble, like a little sort of rectangular or square piece of plating, or something that could cover that up and make my life easier. That might be easier than filling. You see, I probably will just fill it, but you can do things like that, because there's no reason that, like, you've got these strips here that are extra plates. I could put something there and make some rivets to go around it, or somehow cobble some rivets together somehow. I could do lots of different things, but I think this will be easily glued in. You can see here I'm squishing the parts together. The reason I'm using the extra thin specifically here is because I wanted to be able to squish these parts. By squishing them together, as the glue is melting the plastic, you squish them together, and a little bit of that melted plastic bubbles out of the gap and comes out. And what you end up with is the gap perfectly filled by the model's own plastic. You don't always have to use sprue goo. If you don't know what sprue goo is the same thing. It's just basically, sprue goo is effectively, if I can get it out the thing here, it's a pot of that with a whole mess of polystyrene dumped into it. So what you do is you get your big gap, you cover it in sprue goo, the glue evaporates off away, and all it leaves behind is the polystyrene filling the gap. So you're filling polystyrene with polystyrene. I won't need to do that here though, because it's only a tiny little seam, and the bubble, the squidge, the stuff that's squanging out as I squish it together will probably actually fill that enough that when I'll sand that back and it'll be fine. If it's still got a bit of a gap, I can just cover it with sprue goo. So sprue goo is good for small gaps. Just squishing stuff together is good for tiny gaps. Big gaps is where you have to get into things like fillers and shivs of plastic card and stuff. Don't fill the gap. I'm posting a photo of it up in the boom hut of that section. Okay, well, I've kind of squished it now, but never mind. Yes, it may well be invisible. It can look good and crusty, says JS Idaho. Yes. Here's a question for everybody in the chat. Beyond Hope says, is anyone here a Twitcher? And by Twitcher, Beyond Hope means bird watcher, not somebody that twitches uncontrollably. I'm not a bird watchery type, but we do feed the birds in the garden. I do like birds. Birds are awesome. I wouldn't say I'm a bird watcher, but I do wish. I'll tell you what. You read all these stories. I read a story now, I think it was on the BBC, about a girl who was a little girl, and she had crows that came into her garden, and all different kind of birds. Marcus Mayer says, spaghetti are finished. See you later. Thanks for coming, Marcus. And do come back. We'll be here till for another couple of hours. Enjoy your spaghettis. Yeah, she had a bird table. Kenneth's in. Hey, Kenneth. Welcome, Kenneth. Kenneth, my very, very dear friend in the Australia lands. She had a bird table, and she used to feed the birds. All different kinds of birds. It may have been American. They may have had like blue jays and stuff. And I think, if I remember rightly, what happened was there were some crows that used to come to a bird table, and they crows, get some of the bird food and stuff. And what happened was there was something along the lines of there was a crow that was injured. It was a baby crow or something. It was, for some reason, it was suddenly very vulnerable. It had fallen out of the nest, or it had been attacked by a predator and was on the floor, vulnerable. And what she did was she basically rescued it and put it up out of harm's way, where the mother could get to it. Is this part 7? It might have been like a baby one that had fallen out the nest, and so it couldn't fly yet. But she put it up out of harm's way so it wouldn't get preyed on by anything. But the mother could get to it, because she knew enough to, you don't really mess around with a baby bird, because if you mess around with a baby bird too much, the parent's just going to abandon it. So she put it up somewhere safe. And basically the bird was fine. Its parents came to feed it, and it eventually fledged, and then it flew off. And it was absolutely fine. But what happened was, because the crows are smart, the corvids are smart, and it recognised, they knew her face. It's just a little girl. They basically, a few weeks later, after this thing had fledged and flown away, they started bringing her little gifts. They started bringing, she'd go out to the bird table and she'd find little shiny things on the bird table, and she sat and watched when she put the food out one day. And what was happening was the crows were coming along, because they always recognised, because she always put the food on the table, so they always recognised her anyway. But ever since she rescued this little baby bird, this young bird, they would come along and they would eat the food, but they'd leave something behind, some little shiny thing they may have found, like a ring pull or a bead or something shiny, a bit of wire that they'd found on their travels the previous day. And they just kept bringing her all these little gifts all the time. And when she was putting the food out, they'd sit there in the garden, and they wouldn't fly away. Like, whereas before they'd be a bit wary, but they just sit there and wait for her to put the food out, and they'd hang around. And it was like, God, that'd be so cool. Imagine that if, like, you know, the crows in your garden recognised you and were, as a friend and not an enemy, and were just cool, chilling out, hanging out with you. It'd be awesome. Because we put food out for the birds. Now the crows themselves don't really come and feed at our feeders. They do sometimes, but mostly we just get magpies and wood pigeons and little twiddly birds, little twittery things, which is cool. We do have crows around here that fly around, but they don't really tend to come and eat from our bird tables and feeders. But imagine that the crows became so friendly or familiar with you, they saw you as a friend, and they just hang out. So I always kind of hope that, because it's always me that puts the food out, I always kind of hope that the crows in the area will start eating at our bird feeders, because then they'll get to recognise me, and then we'll all be mates, and it'll be cool. Imagine that. Because, you know, corvids are super smart. Corvids are awesome. So you've got all stress marks. I don't know if you can see. I'll zoom in so I can show you the stress marks. Let's see if I can zoom in without messing everything up. Apologies for wibbly wobbly camera, because it's the way things are. Don't know if you'll see there, if it's in focus. I can't see with these glasses on, but you'll see the stress mark there, like a plastic stress mark. If you've ever made gumplet and you've nipped nubs off plastic, and you'll know, especially if it's blue or black, and you get the little white marks, that's stress marking. So that plastic has been produced under stress at some point in the mould. You can see where I've cut that nub off and it's got the little white marks. Well, that's already on there. So there's something weird about the production with these third-party ones. That's not the normal production. Yeah, so can you imagine that? Like, just being chummy with your local corvids. That'd be awesome. We've got some crows that live in it, but they don't really come into our garden much. You might see them occasionally, like picking stuff off of the floor. You know, scavenging off the floor maybe, but they don't really tend to come into the garden. You'll hear them flying around, you'll hear them shouting in the mornings, fighting with the magpies, but they don't really tend to come in the garden much. I shall have a look in the chat in a moment. So what do we get in the garden? We get so we get wood pigeons, we get magpies. Wood pigeons are dumb as a bag of hammers and hilarious. Magpies, they're really clever magpies, they're really quite cool. We get blackbirds, thrushes, starlings, we get all the little twittery birds, little blue tits and sparrows. It's nice to see we've actually had some sparrows in the garden this year, because sparrows, you know, they've kind of faded away around here. We used to have a big juniper bush in our garden for many, many years. It was huge, and they had like 1 billion sparrows in it. But when that went, the sparrows went with it, so there aren't many bushy areas around here anymore. So to hear them in the garden twittering away like sparrows do, well, I say twitter, they don't really make twitter noises. Sparrows are like little tiny, they make little pew pew noises, like they're pretending to have laser gun fights. Like they're making deliberate pew pew noises. A squirrel. We've obviously got a squiggle that comes and harasses the birds in the garden and takes as much of the food as it can get. It's amazing how you can tell when the squiggle is actually hibernating, because like you put the feeders out, because we've got a couple of like sort of platformy bits where the food goes in, and we've got a couple of dangly tube things where the food sits in there, and the tiny birds can sit on and get the seed out. But the squirrel, kind of, when the squirrel's around, you know it's around because those things empty in a day, because it just comes up and goes, I'll have all that, thanks, nom, gone. So, but when it's in hibernation, it's great because we put out some seed in the little dangly tube thing and it's still half full. I need part 53. 35. I don't know if that's correct, Jim. I don't know. 53. It's really hard to see the numbers on these sprues. That's 53. Diddly bomb. Oh, knocking the camera. Apologies. 53. We did have some kind of hawk once, some sort of raptor turned up once and whisked a wood pigeon away. And I know it was some kind of hawk because it was sat at the end of the garden chowing down on the wood pigeon, unfortunate wood pigeon. Yeah, that was kind of impressive. What else do we get in our garden? We did have a hedgehog last year, but we've not seen him for about a year, so he's obviously moved on. The problem is nowadays that, especially around here, we've gone from people having gardens like ours. If you look at, you've seen pictures of my garden that I've posted up in the Boom Hut before. It's all bushes and flowers, and the very end of the garden we leave kind of almost wild. And we've got like little sort of bushes and trees and things. It's kind of all. It's not like a simple grass garden. It's all bushes and flower beds, and there's a acer and bushes and plenty of fir trees and stuff. Scots pine or whatever. I don't know. Some big pointy trees, and we like to keep it that way because it encourages the creatures. But the thing that's kind of disheartening is most of our neighbours now. If you look at their gardens. They've got the kind of garden where it's just a lawn. It's just a big... I mean, our garden's long. It's like 1,000 miles long. It's a really long garden, but they've got their garden and it's just lawn. Fence, lawn, shed, maybe a little bit of decking for sitting on having a barbecue. It's just that, and it's like... so boring. It doesn't encourage anything at all. No wildlife. It's just grass. Now, I know some of them have got kids. And so they've got lawn and then some, climbing frames and playhouses and stuff. That's fine. That makes sense. That's fine. But a lot of them don't have kids, and yet they just have lawn, and it's like such a shame because there's nothing for the wildlife to do. There's nowhere for it to go or hide. You're not encouraging bees or small birds or anything really. There's foxes around here as well. If it's if you've got a road and all the gardens on that road are just lawn. It might as well be a desert. That's a shame. So we like to keep our garden not scruffy. Our garden isn't scruffy. It's just busy. There's bushes and plants and trees and all kinds of hidey holes, and there's a pond, and it's just interesting. It's not just lawn. And then it's more interesting then to sit out in the summer and look at the creatures running around, if you can see any of them. Look at all the wildlife that's in the garden, having its happy little wildlife ways because it's got bushes and trees and things to hide in. And you go out at night and there's the snuffling hedgehogs, or you're woken up at 2 a.m. by the shouting fox, the shouting vixen who's shouting her head off in the middle of the night. And it just encourages all that. Whereas if you've just got grass, a lawn, all you're going to get is the occasional hedgehopper. That's it. It's not really interesting at all, is it? Right, so that's the pointy face. That's reminding me of something, but I can't place it. It's specifically reminded me of something. It could be something from an animated puppet thing. I don't know what it is. I'm getting a flashback, but I don't know what to. Okay, that just sits on there, and then that sits on there, like that, you'll see. I see, that goes on here like this. Yeah, now I see why you want to suggest the thick glue. Yes, thick glue might be sensible in this situation. So yeah, so it's quite frustrating when you see all the neighbours and they're just like, it's just lawn. Like, you've got kids and stuff, that makes sense. But when you've not got kids, have a nice garden. Encourage the creatures. Creatures are cool. I'll sort that out in a minute. Let's do the other side first. What's chat done? Fox, how thick should sprue goo be? I think mine's a little thin. Sprue goo should be quite simple. When you take it out of the jar on the brush, it should splooge once like that, just go a bit stringy, and then it's difficult because of the angle, but it should just sit there. If it's dripping off the brush, it's too thin. It will drip eventually, but it takes a long time. So when you first pull it out like that, it'll obviously dribble a bit, but then once it's done that nonsense, it'll sit. It's got to be like, it's really like, it's like thick treacle. You want it to be that thick. So you see how that's taking forever? The reason you want it that thick is if you've got a gap, let's say you've got two things here, two pieces of plastic, and you've got this gap here, and you want to fill it. When you cover it with sprue goo, if I use this blue tack here as a simulacrum, if I can get the blue tack off, there we go. Imagine this is sprue goo. The idea is you want to cover this, you want to put it here so it fills the gap. You make a bead of the glue that goes over the gap but also goes into the gap. So let me just work on that shape a little bit. I could draw this, but I've got nothing to draw on. So what you do is you basically fill the gap with the sprue goo like that, so it goes into the gap and covers over it. And then you sand that back down, and what you're left with is just the sprue goo that was in the gap. And it's just polystyrene, because the glue is flashed off, and it's just literally polystyrene. So you're filling a gap in polystyrene with polystyrene. The best sprue goo on a kit is the sprue goo that's made of the sprue that the kit came with, but you don't have to. If it's too thin, all that's going to happen is the sprue goo is going to run into the gap and not form a bead over the gap. It's just going to go and you'll get a depression. Which is why, you know, like when I did this squishing thing here together here, that was enough to get the plastic to ooze out and fill the gap because it was a tiny gap. If it was a big gap though, it would just go, and your sprue goo will just sink into the gap and make a depression rather than an actual seal. That's when you get little pits. If you try and fill a hole, it makes a little pit. It's because it's too thin. So it needs to be thick enough that it can flow a bit, but not too thick that it's a block, and not too thin that it just runs into the little holes and gaps you fill. So thick enough that it's not going to drip off the brush constantly. How you doing, Kenneth? Kenneth says, how is everyone? I'm fine, thank you, Kenneth. How are you doing? Dad says, it's 3 AM, Kenneth. Why are you awake? Beyond Hope says, okay, we've got families of blackbirds and robins in the garden. Oh yeah, we get robins as well, forgot about those. During the summer, female blackbird used to drop worms by my dad, then went to feed. Now the female robin is dropping a single leaf by the food, then going after the male he has eaten. Can you suggest a reason for this behaviour? Yeah. Don't know. Could be with a robin. I know robins are incredibly territorial and they're very aggressive, so it could be a territory marker of some sort. It could be a breeding behaviour, so they're leaving a little gift for a female to signify, you know, their presence, maybe. Vampy says, hi all, he'll watch this later. I say, I don't know that much about birds though, so I would guess it's territorial or mating behaviour, probably. Beyond Hope says to Gemma... Oh, Gemma says, Beyond Hope, I'm not a bird watcher, but I enjoy watching the birds that are nesting in the garden, feeding at the clear feeders attached to my window. Cool! Beyond Hope says, my mum is practically housebound, so we've made an effort of getting the birds to be comfortable around us. We're sure the robins actually chat back to us when we call them. Could be. The thing is, most birds are very intelligent, and they will get, you know, because they do live for years, they will get, in some cases, acclimated to you. Comfortably. The same way you get people who have foxes that live in their garden, and the foxes are happy for them to sit in the sun with the cubs playing like 10 feet from people because they know they've got used to they've got habituated to them. So it's entirely possible, and especially if they are corvids, so your blackbirds, crows, magpies, members of the family Corvidae, are stupidly clever, if such an oxymoron is correct. Stupidly intelligent. So yeah. Robins. Dad says robins are cool and super friendly, unless you're another robin, in which case they actually fight to the death to claim territory. They're really, with each other, they're really aggressive. I've seen robins going at it in the garden. Jeez Christ. Yeah. They're like, oh, you know that bloke in the pub that has like 6 pints and then wants to glass everyone? That's what a robin's like when you're in its territory if you're another robin. Scary. They're like right football hooligans. Let's have a look. Ooh, that stress, says Eon's car. Muse says, headed out to the shop. Be back if you're still here. I will be here till another hour and 45 minutes. Dude, not much eating on a robin, though, says Patient X. Welcome, Patient X. Yeah, they're a bit spawny. My cobra is red, says Phil Lewis. To Dad, because Dad likes red. Kenneth says it might have cooled during the injection process. Yeah, it could be that. It's some kind of constriction, perhaps, when it's been in the mould. I mean, normally with polystyrene kits, you don't tend to get that because they're in the mould and the cooling, the sort of time that plastic parts in a proper injection mould cool is like parts of a second. It really is. Inject, compress, cool, splunk, pop out. It's that kind of fast. So for a lot of the process, not always. So it's unusual to see it, but it's not something you'll ever see on a GW kit sprue made in the Nottinghams. I wonder who makes these. I wonder where they'd actually get these made. Because I've got to be honest with you. If I was GW, the last thing I would want to do is give any access to my moulds or toolings to some Chinese company to make these, because you just, that's the worst thing you can do. You know what's going to happen if you give access to your moulds to a Chinese manufacturer. They're just going to rip you off. They're just going to take all the moulds they've got and just bootleg everything. So yeah, it would just make you wonder where these are being made. Gemma says, Beyond Hope being mostly housebound is why I got the clear feeders. It's lovely to watch the birds, very relaxing. They are super cool to watch little birds. I like watching the squirrel because the squirrel's cool. I mean, yeah, I know the squirrel's a bit of a pest, but he's still kind of fun to watch. Especially when he gets into a bit of a verbiage, bit of a tussle with, say, one of the magpies or a wood pigeon. I mean, watching the squirrel trying to fight a wood pigeon is brilliant because the squirrel's like really sort of hyper and aggressive, and the wood pigeon's just dumb and stupid. They really are one of the stupidest organisms ever birthed. They are just incredibly stupid. And it's great because it's like the squirrel can be having a shout at the wood pigeon to get out of the way, and the wood pigeon's like, huh? What? Huh? It hasn't got a clue. It's like I've sat and watched a wood pigeon. There could be a feeder here, and there could be a fence there, and there could be like a 2-foot gap. And I've sat and watched a wood pigeon spend 10 minutes assessing the best way to get from the fence to the feeder, which is literally jump. Like, there you go. I've seen them sit there for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and you can see them like going back and forth on the feet, trying to think, can I do this? Can I jump? Do I need to flap my wings? How's the best way to, trying to assess the best way to get across. They're so stupid. They are so stupid. But I like them. And wood pigeon fights are just rubbish. They're just, they really are handbag fights. I don't know. Wood pigeons, dumbest creatures in all of God's creation. If there was a God. Yeah. Moving on. Fox's fault. Now I'm going to have to get a new computer so I can play Elite Dangerous. This one's not quite up to the job. Would it not just be cheaper to buy an Xbox? I hate to say it. If for just one game, you may as well just spend a lot less and just get an Xbox One X. Because you know what? Elite's pretty good on the Xbox. Let's have a look. Candy Graham says, I once watched with great amusement as a mockingbird loudly made repeated strafing runs on a cat who was trying his best to get away. Phil Lewis says, hedgehogs have no garden loyalty. Kenneth says he gets kookaburras, which are really cool to listen to. I was going to try and make a kookaburra noise. I can hear it in my head, but I can't make it in my mouth. Do you get galahs? I like that, you bloody galah, because that's a kind of bird, isn't it, a galah? I can hear kookaburra in my head, but I can't make the noise in my mouth. Kookaburras are kingfishers with a sense of humour. Kookaburras are like kingfishers that have beefed up a little bit. They've been pumping, bro. Do you even lift, bro? They've been doing that a bit. They're a bit chonk. They're like kingfishers with chonk. I always like it outside because I can tell. It's always really funny because we have these magpies, and you know when there's a cat around. Because the way you know there's a cat around is because the first thing you hear is all the magpies having a right go at the cat. They start doing their alarm calls, and it's really loud. I mean, magpie alarm calls will wake you up. Even if you're fast asleep and dead to the world, that will wake you out. That will get you out of bed. Right, so Paul Di Tommaso is in. Fox, are you thinking of the creature from the Black Lagoon? Huh? No. No. This may be leaving it by, they may be leaving it by you because they know no other bird will approach you, says Osric 9000. Okay. That's the little things they're leaving by the feeder. Okay, that's going to go on there, and then that needs to go on. I clearly need to glue this front piece on here first because I need that in place to line up the floor panel, because there's no specific point at which the floor panel starts and ends. There's no like specific attachment peg for the floor panel. So what I'm going to need to do is glue that button first. I'll have a quick look at chat very quickly. So look, Paul Di Tommaso says, hi Chris, Dad and Phil. Paul is in. He says, Banhammer safety protocols initializing. Paul is spooling up the Banhammer. That Paul is in his team inept. Wood pigeons may be dumb, but their brains work 10 times faster than humans. How close can you drive to a pigeon in the road before it flies off? They may be able to process visual stimuli faster. They're still thick as anything. They are still dumb. I mean, seriously. Imagine trying to get a wood pigeon to walk down a flight of stairs. It'd take like months. I actually get quite frustrated sometimes watching them. Just literally, like I said before, just literally, for example, jumping 2 feet from a fence to the feeder. It takes them half an hour to make all the decisions. It's like, oh God, oh! You know, like when you're watching someone who talks really slowly and you just want to finish the sentence for them. It's like that. It's like, oh! You know, when you're talking to someone who is perhaps, let's say, an old person, and so, for example, they might go, and a lot. So they'll talk and be like, well, I saw this man, and he said to me, and you know, it takes like half an hour to tell the story, which was, I saw this man, and he offered me some chips for 30p, and I gave him 20p, and he gave me the chips. But that could take 45 minutes, because he'd be like, well, I saw this man, and what it was, he had some chips. Now, I was going down the M45 at the time, and then I pulled into the garage, and that's why I was in this and yeah, just get to the point. But that's like watching a wood pigeon trying to make a decision. It's just painful. It's painful. Would you consider them the chavs of the avian species, Fox, says JS Idaho? No, because wood pigeons don't really... See, if you want to define a chav properly, a chav has to be stupid and ignorant, but also a little bit nasty, as in they've got a nasty streak. Because being a chav isn't just being poor and a bit scummy. Being a chav is also being easily incited to violence and not understanding why that's a bad thing. So I wouldn't say they were the chavs of the avian world. They were kind of they might be the kind of remedial class kids of the avian world. They're kind of the ones that they might need the special sort of, you know, summer camp class. They might need a bit extra TLC. By saying remedial, I don't mean to be offensive. It's when I was a kid at school, they had in primary school, they had different streams. It's going back into the 80s and 70s. And the remedial stream were the kids who were maybe needed a bit more time spent with them to get them through the basics. So, yeah, I don't mean to be offensive when I say that, but yeah, yeah, they're kind of like the special kids, really. They're the you know what I mean. They're a bit hard of thinking. I suppose they are kind of, you know, like you get chav. You get two types of chav. There's the slow chav, the slow and incredibly stupid chav, who, not bless him, he's not very clever. And I watched an episode of, as an example, The Interceptors yesterday. They pull over this car, and there's two chavs in the car, and there's the mouthy chav and there's the slow chav. They're like, they know. It's like, and they pull this car over. And they didn't pull it over. The car's just parked there, but it's obvious that the car has just been driven and parked. And the guy in the car is like, "Is this your car?" "No, it's my sister's car." "All right, yeah, she's just dropped us off and she's gone to get some chips and she'll be back in a minute." "All right, so you haven't driven it because you're not insured?" No, I haven't driven it. No, I'm not insured for it. I can't drive it." But obviously the kid had driven the car and parked it there and was now just saying it was his sister that was going to come back to them in a minute. And the copper's like, "Yeah, there was no sister and she wasn't coming back, and I know he'd just driven the car because it was pinging and still warm, and it was obvious. And he was also, he's obviously on alcohol or drugs or something. So it was blatantly obvious that the kid had just driven it. But he showed great patience, and this kid's like, no, it's my sister. It's my sister. Honestly, look, I've just sold this dog to these guys, and these guys walk past and they confirm, yes, these two men have just sold us this dog. But there was no woman. It was just the two men. And it's blatantly obvious this guy is making up this story, and the copper don't believe a word of it. And then, after about 25 minutes, because he said, "Right, well, we'll just sit here and wait for your sister to turn up." He's like, yeah, we'll wait for my sister to turn up. But the copper's taken the phone off him, so he can't call her to get the story straight. So they're sitting there, and this kid is trying to make up this story, and this other kid who's in the passenger seat has said nothing throughout the whole thing. And right at the very end, without prompting, he just says, "Look, mate, she said we could have the car, so what's the big problem? His sister said we could drive the car, it's no problem." So, but he said it like as a thick person. "She said we can have the car for a bit. What? She said we could drive it." So this guy's trying to make up this made-up story about the sister driving it and going to get chips. And this other guy, who's, bless him, the thick chav, the special stupid chav, hasn't caught on and just basically says his sister said he could drive it. Like he's missed the entire conversation that he's been sat in the middle of. That's the wood pigeon. That's the wood pigeon. Dumb as a bag of nails. Adorable, but dumb as a bag of hammers. Even not a bag of nails. Dumb as a bag of hammers. Let's have a look. What's chat doing? Is someone being rude? Your chat box broke. Yes, it does that from time to time. It's not actually the chat problem. It's Streamlabs that I use for streaming. Sometimes just sort of stops. It carries on streaming. The stream continues, but it just stops. So the chat box either goes blank or stops updating. And my little meters that show me the volume levels, they stop updating real time. It does that sometimes. Fox, you were looking at the play tank and thought, you know what it looked like? It was the creature from the Black Lagoon or Abe Sapien from... No, it's... I can't place it. It's something specific. It's not there now. I've put the sides on. It's gone, but... It could be something, and this is going to be a real obscure reference that I bet nobody's going to get. But many, many years ago, it may be Marvel, I'm not sure, but I think Marvel or DC did a series of comics, Doctor Who comics, with the Fourth Doctor, with, what's his face? Tom Baker. Tom Baker's Doctor. Now, I never read the comics, but I did once, at one point, I think I've still got it, they used to do collections where they'd have 5 or 6 comics and then they'd collect them all together into a volume, a little softback thing. And it was Doctor Who and the Iron Legion. And it was basically, it was a really good story. It was like a world where the Roman Empire never crumbled and they all had robots and stuff, and space travel and things, but it was all Roman, so like the Roman legionaries were robots. But it's reminding me of that. I'm sure there's a robot in it that had a face like that. Kind of top and bottom bit and 2 sticky out eyes. I don't know. But if anybody out there remembers Doctor Who and the Iron Legion, 10 points. Because that was some fantastic artwork in that. All the Roman legionaries basically went around on what looked like mopeds, Vespa mopeds, but they were didn't have wheels. They were like speeder bikes, but that looked like mopeds. But they looked like Roman legionaries and made this awesome stuff. Team Inept says, telling people off for taking ages to say things is bloody rich. Yeah, but at least my waffle is interesting. But that's how what's chat doing. Video will be saying good. Lewis Williamson's welcome, Lewis. Hey, Lewis. Lewis says, I'm good, thanks. Just accept the wife making me do Christmas stuff. Do. Paul says, I'm not going to read these ones about wives because I'm going to get you into trouble on the off chance that your good lady wives may not be watching but maybe hearing. So I'm not going to read them out. Freaking Cybermen. I suppose there is a hint of Cyberman in there as well. As we take out these tube bits, there's a hint of Cyberman in there, but that's not what I was thinking of. But yeah, a little bit. Yes, I'm not going to read any of these my wife comments because I don't want to get anybody into trouble. They're all very funny, but I don't want to get anybody into trouble. Actually, I do want to get all of you into trouble. Well, no, it's only ever Chris I want to get into trouble because it's funny when everybody says things in chat and Chris gets shouted at. It's not really funny. It is funny, but it's not. Right, now we have 1 million wheels to stick on. This is going to get tedious now. Lewis Williamson says, my good lady wife is not watching Fox, just the wife. Yeah. Thanks, says Chris. Yeah. Right, so it's wheel time. Ooh. This is the one thing, it's been so long since I've done a tank, I'm about to remember why I'm never that keen on doing tanks. Because like most Warhammer tanks, all the wheels are built in, but for some reason on this, they've given you separate wheels. I think it's because there wouldn't be much else to do if you didn't have separate wheels. So, we need 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So, should we just hope if they're in order? Raging Bassist is in. Welcome, Bassist. So we want 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Let's just see. Let's take odds. So we've got 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 19. So they almost did it logically. So 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Okay, almost logically. We'll give them that. Almost. It's close enough. Lewis is saying about reminding his wife that he's been driving for 18 years and I'm a class 1 license holder. I think I know best. And then I don't get any tea after that. Yeah. I'm not going to read any of these out now. I can't get you all into trouble. I can, but I can't. Right, so let's get all these snipped off. Yes, I'm about to remind you why I hate tanks. Or why I don't hate tanks, but I don't build tanks very often because it's the 400 wheels. As someone who gets bored with the fact I have to do 2 arms and 2 legs on a Gumpler, doing like 25 wheels on a tank. Ugh. So 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. There we go. So it's all these ones. Now I can be a little careless on these, I think, because they're road wheels on a tank and it's a Death Guard Nurgle disease tank. So I would expect the wheels to be a little unkempt and poorly maintained, and therefore, if there's a few little nick marks in the perimeter of the wheel, this would seem wholly appropriate. So I can go in with the big fat Games Workshop clippers right up to the edge of the wheel and not really care. Except that one won't come out. See, normally what I would do is I'd leave a little bit of the sprue on there and then I carefully trim it back and make sure it's all nice and neat. But it's a Nurgle tank and it's going to look rusty and battered anyway. So, you know what? Let's just nip it in the bud. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Now I don't know which is which, so I'm going to hope they're all the same. How you doing, Bassist? Any stabber says Bassist? No, I've got a hangnail on that hand that's really, really painful, but that's from days ago. I've got 4 days off now, so I'm happy about that. People have been, I won't read that out loud. People have not been nice the past 2 days, and I haven't been much better. Yeah, 4 days. What are you going to do with your 4 days off, Bassist, apart from obviously not work? You're going to chill out. Chill the heck out. That's the best thing to do. Right, so for these, I'm just going to go straight in with the Sandy Sandy. Again, being a tank, if you want to apply some real world logic here, to basically to cover my ass and say, well, I'm cutting corners, or which is ironic on a wheel, it's not got any corners. It's a metal wheel that's in contact with a metal track. There's going to be a lot of wear and tear. Now, I know in reality a tank wouldn't have bare metal. It'd be like rubber wheel tyre thing around the head. But, you know, hey, it's a Death Guard Nurgle tank in space. We can get away with some shenanigans. Paul Di Tomasa says, I got an early Christmas present from my parents. Money! Yay! Debating between buying the Master Grade Shinanju Stein or Baneblade. Oh, I don't know. I don't know on that one. I don't know. I've not made my Baneblade yet, but man. The Shinanju Stein is a very nice kit. But if you built the Shinanju, it's not that different. It's a nice kit, though. Baneblade. I mean, I would say that the Shinanju Stein is more value for money in terms of you pay 80 quid for a kit and it's a very complex Master Grade. And you get, especially if you get on with the base jabber and everything else, because you get the Master Grade, you get the Shinanju Stein and the base jabber and all the other bits. Oh no, wait. That's the unicorn. I'm talking rubbish. That's the full arm unicorn. But yeah, but you look at the Baneblade, and the Baneblade is just a big ass tank. It's not that complicated. And you could think to yourself, well, you know, there's Tamiya kits of similar sized tanks that are a billion more parts, or TACOM or anything, trumpeter kits that are a billion more parts, and they cost half as much. So you do get the shonky Games Workshop pricing, but it's a Baneblade, isn't it? Oh, Baneblade. Yeah. Strong tank. Dad says Baneblade, Paul, Baneblade, Baneblade. Quano Man says, I don't have a wife, thank God. I once had a girlfriend, but I had to trade it for an Xbox because that makes it easier to get at the fun stuff. Dear me. Basis says, Paint got a Wrathlord to finish, another Holiday Beholder, catch up on comics and play Shadow or Tomb Raider, Pokemon Sword and Neverwinter Nights, and watch The Witcher. Cool. The Warhammer Painter says, have you found that 10-hour loop video of Duncan softly saying Ushabti-bone yet? No, I think I said I was going to make it rather than... I think I said somebody should make it. So we should, yeah, just want a 10-hour loop of just Duncan going Ushabti-bone. It's a great name. I've got to tell you, I've got a gripe about this. I've got to complain about this. And I don't know, I've looked on the internet and nobody's bitching about this, right? I've not seen any rumblings about this. But I'm kind of going off the Warhammer TV how to paint videos. Seriously. Because they used to be great fun to watch. They were really informative. They were just fun to watch. They taught you a lot of things. And even if they were like skills that, you know, you'd already advanced far beyond those, they were just good fun to watch. You know, Duncan was nice to watch. He was quite chill. I was getting used to Peachy and his cheeky sense of humour. And they were just, I'd always sit and watch them. Oh, look at this, we're gonna paint a Putrid Blight King, or we're gonna paint this, that, or the other, and it's a good half-hour watch. 25 minutes to half an hour of interesting things to watch. But it's all gone to pot. They've stopped doing, or it's very rare now they'll do a proper painting video. They're all 3-minute long battle-ready crap. And it's like, when are you going to give us a video that shows how to paint something that doesn't look like complete garbage? I understand that they're catering to the people that just want to get them painted on the tabletop and they haven't got a lot of experience or skill. They're going for the lowest common denominator, and that's fine. But that's pretty much all it is on there now. It's how to paint this thing in 2.5 minutes. And it's always like battle ready, and it's either contrast or classic method. And the contrast method always looks like absolute garbage because it's battle ready. It's not a proper paint job. And often even the classic method, because it's battle ready, looks like absolute garbage because it's like base coat, shade, done. And with a few exceptions, it's all been that. And I'm like, when are we going to get some proper 25-minute long how to paint stuff videos? There's been so many cool models that have come out. in the last 6 months, and they're showing you how to paint in, you know, a quick 2-minute guide how to do a really bad paint job on, I don't know, kit that came out 25 years ago. And it's like, oh, I appreciate the content, but I just wish you'd do some decent content. And it's really annoying because without sounding, you know, egotistical, I would say that I'm kind of, I don't need to watch Warhammer TV's content to learn anything, because I'm already, you know, beyond what they show you on there anyway from a lot of it. But it was interesting to watch. It was something to look forward to and have fun watching. But now it's just trash. It's all battle ready. It's all, oh, I can't be doing with it. It's really frustrating because it's like, I used to love watching the videos. I'd be like, oh, great, I can sit down. It's an half-hour build video. I can get me tea in front of me. I can sit down at the bench, get that video playing, nosh on me tea, and it's good times. Or just sit there with, you know, some snacks or something. Have a bit of a snack going on. I'm going to be really anal now and line up all these wheels. I don't need to, but I'm going to. Just to be anal about it. But I'm going to have, or shall I have just one off just to break somebody who's got the OCD? So it's all like, this always just not worth watching, because they're just not interesting at all. It's just real lowest common denominator techniques, and they look terrible. And it's like, I don't know. It's just, I'm going off it because it's just not fun to watch or interesting to watch anymore. I think they did one the other week, which was a proper 25-minute job on something. And I know there's you know, they can only make so many videos in one go, and they've got to make the content and that kind of stuff. I understand that. That makes sense. And that's why they've got 3 of them now, because they need to make the content, but there's only so much they can make as 1 or 2 people. But still, battle ready. I wish they'd just dump the battle ready crap and just do some proper painting tutorials like they used to do. Because the whole point was, you know, you've got people that get Warhammer stuff. They're either going to be, they know how to paint a little bit or a bit. They've got no idea what they're doing, or they know everything about painting. You can imagine they're hardcore painters. Hardcore painters, they're not catering towards those. Average painters, they're catering towards them, and brand new painters, they didn't really cater towards them too much. But so I understand they're catering to the absolutely inexperienced painter. That makes sense, but to the exclusion of everything else, no, it's just boring now. There's really no incentive for me to watch. Now I need to put this on something flat so it can line up properly. So I just wanted to get that out there and grumble about it, because it's really annoying. This is a piece of glass that's flat, so I can make sure all the wheels line up. I should have got the other wheels off first, shouldn't I, really? Let's put that way. Okay, so get the other wheels off. So yeah, it's just really frustrating, that's all. It's annoying, because it used to be interesting to watch, and now it's just, why do I even need to say subscribe to it? Especially when I say there's been so much good stuff come out. I need 38, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay. Yeah, especially when there's so many amazing models that have just just come out in the last few months, and they've not done anything with any of them. It's like, really? Really? I mean, I'm assuming they've just released some Lord of the Rings stuff, because they've been doing a few of those lately, and I don't think anybody really cares about Lord of the Rings, to be honest. But hello, somebody's texting me. There's tabs on the wheels for the tracks to sit in. There's a tab there that's on the wheel that's already built into it, though. There's no specific call-outs for the wheels that I'm gluing on. There was a text from Dad saying there's things for the wheels to go in. I'm not seeing any specific thing for the wheels I'm actually gluing on, though. They're just round, I think. Yeah, there's 2 tabs on the inside parts here, but they're fixed in place. So thanks for that, Loaded. I appreciate the heads up. Yeah, so anyway, rant over. It's long and short of it. It's just getting on my nerves at the moment. It's quite frustrating. Do. I mean, I've been short on content over the last few months, but that's just because I'm one person and I can only do so much at one time. And I'm doing various other builds that are taking up all my time, so I kind of got an excuse. But if I had 3 people to do content, yeah, it's... Oh well, moving on. Moving on. I'll have a look at the chat in a second. Basis says, I agree with the Warhammer TV, it's complete part. They should do a battle ready video and then click here to see how to take it parade ready. Yeah, it is a shame. It's a complete shame. Like I say, I understand aiming it at the absolute beginner because they'll have a lot of younger builders. And yeah, okay, some of the Warhammer TV stuff may be a bit advanced for absolute beginner like that. But it doesn't mean that's going to be all your content. Oh well. Oh well. No. Eon's Car says, the new Warhammer TV dude I do not like. Nick Baton. Yeah, he doesn't... I've nothing against him, he just... I don't think he's found his presentation style yet. It took Peachy a long time to get comfortable, I think, doing his presenting. Whereas Nick's kind of doing the shouting on camera thing still. I think ultimately though, whoever gets into that job, whoever joins that team and does the presenting, they're always going to be compared unfavourably to Duncan, because everybody loves Duncan. And if you're not Duncan, basically, you're not worthy, are you? So I think it doesn't matter who goes and does that job. Yeah. It took me a long time to be able to... For a long time, I couldn't watch Peachy's painting videos just because he was doing it with his left hand, and my brain was like, I can't cope with the other hand. It just doesn't make sense. What's going on? I know that's silly. That's silly, but you know. But I think watching Peachy and Duncan, when they do their live stream stuff, watching the two of them interacting together, that sold me on Peachy. Peachy's a right lad. Other brands of tea are available. Yeah, but I don't know. I'm not fully kind of grown into Nick Baton yet. That's some easy road wheel work there, Fox. Try the DML mouse for some real fun suspension and wheel work, says JS Idaho. Oh, don't get me wrong. I know this, in terms of tanks, this is nothing. This is absolute no effort whatsoever. Ooh, dropping wheels. Put them over there. Paul Di Tomato says, I believe the wife and kids are coming together and giving me some money for Christmas. That's cool. Money's always nice. I like Christmas presents, but you know what? It's much easier all round if you just give me money, because then I can at least then spend it on something I want rather than, you know. It's possible that somebody might give me something that I think, oh, that's brilliant, I've always wanted that, or that's a really useful gift or a really nice gift. But there's always the chance it'd be like, oh, well, thanks, I'll just put that back in the box then and never forget about it. Because we've all done it. We've all got them presents where you think, why? What? I don't get it. Because I will openly admit, you know, there's people in my life who, bless them, they might buy me a birthday or a Christmas present or whatever, and it's really nice that they do. But if you knew me in real life, if you like, you know, some of you out there do, but if you knew me in real life, you know, I'm a fairly simple creature. I'm a bear of very little complexity. I like Warhammer. I like Gumplers. I like the Xbox. Kind of, you know, that's kind of it. So if you were thinking of what can I get Fox for Christmas or birthday, you'd be a safe bet that if you got me a Warhammers or a Gumplers, you'd probably be fairly spot on with that. You'd probably be in safe territory. I'm not hard to buy stuff for, really. But there's one person, bless them, who without fail will just get me like the most, just not inappropriate, but just like randomly not related to anything ever present. And I don't know how to... It's like, brilliant, thanks. Like, you know, they'll get me a copy of... I've got a wheel left over. They'll get me a copy of some book or other that's like... I haven't read a book in years, and I don't know. It's quite amusing sometimes. You don't have the heart to say thanks. That's not irrelevant to any of my interests whatsoever, but thank you. It's like I've been watching the... what's the thing with the polar bears and all that magisterium and that nonsense, whatever that... I don't know what that is. I've never... All that nonsense, the amber spyglass and that kind of rubbish stuff. And I started watching it thinking it might be interesting. I've no idea what it was. And it's alright, it's not that bad. It's not brilliant. But then I remembered that I've actually got like 3 of those books and never read them. Because somebody got me like, I think for like 2 or 3 years on the trot, they got me the next books in the series. And I'm like, what? Why? How have you... What have I ever done to suggest that this would be any remotely of any remote interest to me at all? Not that I'm ungrateful. I probably will eventually read them one day, but which bit of Warhammers and Gunpla suggested I wanted to read a book about polar bears? And really weird. Right, we've got some wiggle there. We've got some wiggle. It's gone away. There we go. I do recommend when you're making something like this where you've got things like wheels and things that need to be in contact with the surface, I do strongly recommend having a surface that is actually guaranteed to be flat. Now my workbench is on a camber. It folds down the middle, and there's a bit there in the middle, and it's like that. It's got an angle to, so I can't just have something flat on my workbench. You can see how this is wobbling. This is a glass cutting board. It doesn't flex, and that's wobbling because the desk isn't flat. So I have this to hand so that, for example, when I'm doing this, or I've got a vehicle with road wheels or anything like that, I can make sure everything lines up. Because there's nothing worse than making, say, a truck, and you get the truck done and you weather it up and you put it on a flat surface and one wheel is like an inch off the ground and you're like, oh. The Torox Prime I did has that. One of the tyres is a little bit high off the ground. It's like, oh, so frustrating because I checked it and double checked it, but it's resin and somehow it got distorted. And I'm like, nothing I can do now. Like, but... So there is a bit of wiggle wobble there. Now I do know that with Games Workshop, some of the vehicles Games Workshop do, they just have that no matter how careful you are. They just have the bit of wheel in the air wiggle. Just because of the way they're put together and the way they're designed, it's just, you're never going to get perfection. And it doesn't really matter. On a tabletop, it's going to look fine. But there's just a little bit of me that's like, I need to get it nice and level. So have a quick look at chat. Raging Bassist says triangle. Yes. I got an early Christmas present from my mum, a Citadel Crusader army box. Yes, I've got one of those. They're brilliant. I've got loads of stuff. It's down there in the corner. It's got loads of my army in it. Let's have a look. No. Oh, everything jumped. They should do both types, I think. Basic battle ready videos and contrast, and then heavy metal fun time, says Team Inept. Yeah. I think it wouldn't be so bad if they offered more in-depth painting guides as well. But I think the fact they've just spammed their channel over the last few months with just the how to paint like crap, it's not. There's like 95% of the people that look to their videos for advice and are going, I can already paint better than that. Why would I want to do that? Like I said, I can't really comment on that. I shouldn't really comment on that, but being, hey, what's the content been like on my channel for the last couple of months? But I'm one guy. There are small tabs on some of the wheels that you'll need to ensure are down for the tracks. I don't see any tabs on the external wheels here at all. I'm not denying the fact that I may have just screwed that up completely. It's entirely possible. Doesn't say anything specific for those in the instructions though. Specifically. Now I say there are little holes in here on the inside bit, but that's built into the sidewall, so we'll see how it goes. I could have completely screwed that up. Let's find out. Have to go. Wife is making me do delivery, says Lewis. Thanks for coming, Lewis. You're probably already gone, but thank you very much. The wheels that have the tab are the ones he's not yet gotten to, Dad, says Mordraka. Oh, okay. I shall check carefully then. The road wheels and the guide wheel. What is it? It's the sprocket wheel. I don't know my tanks. There's the one at the front and there's the one at the back. These are the road wheels. The one with the sprocket, this is the guide wheel at the front, isn't it? People that do tanks tell me. The one at the front that's unpowered, that's just a guide wheel. And this one at the back with the sprocket is the one where the engine is. And that's the... I don't know. On wheels 20 and 21. Is that the ones... There we go. Yes, it's these two big ones. I shall double check them carefully then, yes. So thank you for that. I did wonder what you meant about it, because there's nothing on them to... Airport 10,001 is back. Hey everyone, I'm back after food. Welcome. Now, I know you're new to the stream, so you won't know this, but whenever you mention food in my chat, there's an unwritten rule. You can't just say, I'm having food, or you can't just say, I'm having pizza. Or you have to give us all the filthy details. We want to know what the food was, what was in it. Was it this and this and this? We need to know all the information. So whenever you're in my chats, you have to describe the food in great detail, in pornographic detail. Oh, there you go. Dad says in the chat the next thing. You'll have to explain airport. Can't just say food, I'm afraid. Also, Jar Jar Binks, you're his biggest fan, says Raging Bassist. Shut up, band! Golden Compass is the name, Fox, says Django. I had no idea, because I didn't read the books. I was like, wow, that looks entirely irrelevant. And then they were on the bookshelf and they've been there ever since. Sorry to the person that gave me those books. I don't know. Airport apparently had meat pie, chips and naked beans. Naked beans? Oh, he did say earlier on, actually. I do apologise, Airport. He did say that earlier on before you went. He said naked beans, then wait, baked? And Dad says, oh, nice, lol, naked, eh? Yeah, I have dyslexic fingers. Haven't read a novel in years. Used to read a lot, but slowly lost interest, says Paul Di Tommaso. I read, obviously, everybody... There's nobody in the world that won't read Terry Pratchett. And if you don't read Terry Pratchett, if you don't like Terry Pratchett, you're banned. But yeah, obviously I read Terry Pratchett. I used to read voraciously, but I haven't read in a long time. Sprocket and Idler. Yes, so the sprocket wheel and the idler wheel. Although it seems to me this big thing on the side here where there's a big fat gun kind of gets in the way of a lot of the mechanics of the wheels moving around. John Mattioli is in. Welcome, John. He says, happy holidays to all of the Fox clan. Do not eat too much fudge. Thank you very much, John. We will eat too much fudge. It's unavoidable. I still have much of the fudge I've received over the last few weeks. There's still tons of it left. Mama Fox is slowly working his way through it. But happy holidays to you as well. And thank you for your kind words. The wheels on the tank go round and round, says Bassist. Unless it's flat, says Eric. Warhammer Paint says, just finished eating some dried fruit and almonds. I learnt that dried fruit is really nice. But a word of advice, if you like your dried fruit, don't do what I did, which is make the mistake of eating a lot of dried fruit all in one go on a very long car journey. Because it can have some disastrous effects about 2 hours later. Trust me on that. I mean, we had like little bags of dried fruit. Eating it, just wolfing it down because I was stuck in the car for 3 hours. Yeah, it takes about 2 hours. Then you have to find services. Trust me, you have to find services fast because there are effects. Very healthy, says Dad. Fudge nom nom nom, says Gaz Vickers. Osric says, I had a bacon, brie and cranberry panini. Festive. Ooh, very nice. In other news, if you watch my Twitter and Facebook feed the other week, when I went to KFC to get their Christmas, whatever it was, and they gave me just some crappy chicken burger, and I complained, and the local store said, sorry, we can't help you. And then the customer service people went, here, have some free vouchers. They've turned up now, so I've got my free vouchers for £8. I got £8 worth of vouchers, which was like, oh, you could have sent me at least a tenner and just rounded it up. Come on, don't give me the exact value of the meal that I didn't get. Give me a bit extra. That's what customer service is all about. Mordraka says, 2 hour car trip equals 4 kilograms of trail mix. Gaz Vickers just ordered a nice peri peri burger meal from the local takeaway. Yay! My local takeaway that I've told you about before was awesome. And then they closed. Because they used to do doner meat, they used to do kebabs, they used to do curry, various curries, and they were really, really nice. And then they closed. And the one that's there now that replaced it is just garbage. Absolute garbage. They do chicken burger, chips, pizza. I'm like, wow, none of that is remotely interesting. There's nowhere near to me that does a decent curry. I've got to say this. There's nowhere near to me that does a decent curry takeout. Curry. I mean, there's probably a few, but I've got a very specific requirement, is that I really can't stand cardamom seeds. If I bite into a cardamom seed, I retch and the whole meal goes in the bin. Because then I have to, when I get a curry, right? When I get a curry in front of me, what I want to do is get the knife and fork or the spoon and just go blah 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 and put it into my face and then go away feeling happy and fat. That's how my curries do. But if I get a cardamom seed and I bite down and get a cardamom seed after gagging for about 5 minutes because they're vile, I then find myself eating slowly and like going through the rice and stuff just to make sure I don't get another one, because they hide. And it ruins it, because I can't sit there and pick through a curry. That's not how it works. So all the places around me that do curries, they all invariably put cardamom in the curries. And it's like, oh, could you just not do that? Because, sadness. So there's nowhere around me that I can get a decent curry. Now this kebab shop's closed, because they all put cardamom in it. It's like, oh, foulness. So I was very sad when it closed, and now the one that's opened is just a burger place. It just does burgers and pizza. I'm like, no, that's really not interesting. And I tried, what did I have from there once? They do like KFC rip-off stuff. Mama Fox tried some of their fried chicken. She was ill the next day, and I tried something from them, and it was just like bland. It was like, ugh, how uninteresting. So sadness. JS Idaho says peri peri burger. Do tell what is on it. I'm going to hazard a guess and say peri peri. Sorry. I haven't eaten yet after work the past 2 days. I'm just sick of the sight of food, says Raging Bassist. Yes. Binge watch something. Get your Amazon or your Netflix up. Binge watch 10 episodes of something. And trust me, you'll have eaten a lot of food by the end of that. Even if it's just packs of crisps and unhealthy snacks. Yeah. If you want to get your appetite back, binge watch stuff. You'll be eating anything. Right, now I've got a big ass seam line that goes all the way along this sprocket wheel here. Oh, but you have to ask the question, is it even going to be visible? Oh no, it's visible. Because there's going to be a track over that. So I don't think you're going to see that big seam line. I don't think I need to worry about cleaning the seam line off. Yeah, that. Okay, you're going to see some of it. So you're going to see like this bit here. Maybe that bit there. So I'm not going to have to clean off the seam line on the whole thing, but I do want to clean off some of it. So what we'll do is we'll get our seam line remover tool. And it's only really visible because it's a stressed plastic, so it's a light green over a green, and it stands out. So I don't need to do too much because it's not really anything you can see once it's primed. But I may as well give it a bit of a sand just to be safe, to make sure it's not got a physical edge. I mean, ultimately I'm going to cover this in dust and dirt as well, which probably hide a lot of sins. But I'll do a little bit and get rid of a little bit of it. Don't you have a Miss India near you, Fox? Says Mordraka. I don't even know what a Miss India is. What's a Miss India? I've never even heard of that. We have a few takeaways that do curries and stuff. Like I said, they all stick cardamom in. We've got one. The one nearest to me doesn't know how to do lamb properly. The place that closed, they did the most delightful lamb karahi. The lamb was always really soft and tender, dead juicy. There was never any fat, or very rarely any fat on it. And so basically we had a kebab shop and a curry shop 3 doors apart. And the kebab shop did the nicest curries. And I said to them in the kebab shop once, I said, How come? Because I don't know what you do to your lamb, but your lamb is delightful. It's fantastic. It's really, really nice. It's soft. It's tender. There's never any fat. And the curry house down the road, their lamb is terrible. It's chewy. It's hard. It's fatty. It's horrible. It doesn't taste nice. And they went, yeah, they're Bangladeshis. They don't know how to do lamb. I'm like, okay, sick burn. Gonna walk away from that one. Yeah, don't go to them. The Bangladeshis, they don't know how to do proper lamb. I'm like, okay. Fighting. But yeah, they're closed now anyway, so there you go. Everywhere else just put, and I said to the one a few doors down that's still there, can you do this curry, but can you not put cardamom in it? He went, no, we can't. It's all pre-made basically, so we can't not put cardamom. I'm like, it's like, oh well, that's nowhere for me to get curry from then. Which side is this going on? This is 2120. I'm sanding that bit, assuming it's the right bit, but I don't know if it's the right bit or not. This magazine needs to not fall over. 23 is that one, and it falls over. Brilliant. Stay there, you numpty. So that's going to go there. Just a little bit of cleanups. So if I do have a good curry, it's usually there is one place that does decent curries, about half a mile away, but it's a restaurant. It's not a takeaway, so it must go there again. I've not been there for a while. It regularly gets shut down by health and safety, and then reopens with a new name all the time. But I've got to be honest, I've always liked their curries and never been ill. I've never had a problem, so yeah, I'll keep giving them my patronage. There we go, that's going to be alright. Talking of patronage, pimping times. Sorry, I have to do this. Pimping times. As always, if you're not aware, this channel is my living. It's what I do for my job. This channel and my content that I make is my living, and I depend on 3 groups of people. Well, 4 groups of people really. I depend on 4 groups of people to support me in my endeavours. Let's get rid of this metal, this glass thing. First and foremost, of course, I have some official corporate support. I am sponsored by emodels.co.uk. I don't know if the button will work. Let's see if my buttons still work. My button's working. No, button's not working. Hang on, let me reset my buttons. God damn it. 1 second. Oh, Elgato, please make your stuff work. Thank you. Let's try that again, shall we? There we go. Yeah, so emodels.co.uk, your one-stop shop for your traditional model making needs. And of course, I am supported as well by Goblin Gaming. One-stop shop for your tabletop gaming needs. Links for both are in the description below the video. If you're in the EU or the UK and you want to go to Goblin Gaming, they offer 20% off Games Workshop, Malifaux and Conflict 47 and massive savings on lots of other things. Do use the link below and not just their normal link, because that link below is an affiliate link. If you use that link, it helps me because it earns me a little tiny bit of commission, which massively helps me out. So do use the link below if you can, if you'll be so kind. And of course, my patrons, my lovely patrons, you can support me on Patreon. The link is there. Or is it patreon.com/modelmakinguru. If you'd like to help me directly, you can do. You can support me on Patreon from as little as $1 a month. Whatever you like to support me with is entirely up to you. And my patrons also keep me going. The majority of my income comes from Patreon. So I do absolutely adore my Patreon supporters. Oops. They mean the world to me. But of course, if you don't want to become a patron, you can support me in other ways. Obviously, first and foremost, just make sure to like all my videos and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Hit the notification bell and make sure to hit it and then get the option for all so you don't miss anything. But do make sure to give my videos a thumbs up. Hitting thumbs up on my videos means that they perform better in searches on YouTube. I didn't know that until recently. It helps them in the search engine, so give that a go. And of course, if you want to, you can support me through things like Super Chat. When I'm doing a stream, you can support me through little Super Chats, little dollar symbol at the bottom of the chat window. So it's a less direct way of supporting me, because that income raised through there just goes towards me and my channel, helps support me a little bit without the commitment of Patreon. So there you go. All support is gratefully acknowledged because it pays my bills. Right, I'm not seeing any markings on these wheels or tabs that say they've got to go in a certain way for the tracks. This one can't go anyway but that way round. That's the only way that one can go, and this one is just, there's no little indents or markings or anything saying it's a certain way around. I don't understand what people are referring to when they say it has to be the right way around. The only thing it refers to is those little indents there. But this is you said look out for 21 and 22 or whichever they were. I'm seeing nothing on here that says a specific direction. Beyond Hope says, Fox sounded like the Spanish Inquisition when he started his pimpage spiel. I rely on 3 groups of people, no, on 4 groups of people. But what did the Romans ever do for us? If you get a Thai curry, they don't use cardamom. So yeah, there is a nice Thai place near us, actually. Well, it's kind of not near, but it's close. But again, it's a restaurant, not a takeout, so it's not as accessible. Right, I'm not seeing anything specific to the idler wheel. Raging Basis says, Goblin are lovely. They used to be in my hometown before they moved. Mordraka, holy hell in a handbasket. Hi honey, I'm home. Dave's in. Hey, whoa, Dave from Butcher That Model. Right, I'm not seeing anything in here that says this wheel has to be a certain way. I am at a loss to know what you guys are on about. Other than those 2 bits there. So, because the only other bits where it seems to line up are these little indentations in the actual structure of the vehicle. So on that bombshell, I'm just going to glue it in. See what happens. They must have fixed the kit up then, for the kit I got after they released the kit had tabs on the idling wheel for the track. I may have changed it. Phil Lewis, need to go. Blood to be tested, then food to be prepared. The fingers ain't going to stab it to themselves, you know. Thanks for coming in, Phil. Really appreciate you being in. Thanks for coming in. Have yourself a good weekend. If I don't see you before then, have a good Christmas. Because, of course, I'm not around tomorrow. So, yes. Fox, on the Rhinos, the only lock for the tracks is the central wheel, or the track parts have just to fit into each other. Yeah, I think it's the same here. There's a little notch there, which you can see, and there's little notches in the structure of the thing, so I think they're going to be fine. I've just got to now remember where I've just put them. The wheels that I've just put somewhere. Where have I just put them? Have they just rolled off? Or I just... You guys are watching. Where have I just put them wheels that were just there in front of me? Oh no, what have I done? Oh, I hate when this happens. Have they just disappeared off into the carpet of doom? Where did I put them, gang? Where did I put those wheels that you just saw me have in my hand? They're on there. Oh, for the love of God. Jesus. Right. Fox, oh dear. Go back to sleep, Fox. They're on the tank, says Beyond Hope. Yeah. It's like me saying, where's my glasses, with my glasses on my head. I've actually had a moment where I've gone, where's my glasses, when my glasses have been on my head. Actually on my face, looking through my glasses, going, where are my glasses? That has actually happened to me. I hate to say this, but it's true. It is actually God's honest truth. You just have one of them senior moments, don't you? Where's my glasses? They're on. You're on your face, you idiot. Oh, yeah. Dope. Oh, yeah, special. Right, so let's get some glue in here. Into the little hole. Seal it all up. There you go. Lovely, lovely. Squishy, squishy. Squishy, squishy. I'm pretty sure that's going to be fine, but what oh, look at that. Oh, I lined up all these wheels carefully to be all straight, and now this one on the end at a slightly jaunty angle. Oh, that's just... I was being very careful to keep them all lined up, and now GW just messing with my OCD. fascist police state. Oh, I don't know. Right, so there we go. There may be a little bit of that seam line that remains visible on that little sprocket wheel. But let's be honest, it's going to get mud on the tracks anyway and on the wheels. So I'm not that worried. I'm no worried. Like the Guinness, I'm not bitter. And now that way, oh, I've done that wheel upside down. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna live with it now. My OCD can shut up. I've actually said, "Where's my phone?" when holding it. It says "Raging Bassist." I've done that. Yes. Where's my? Oh, it's there. You've all done it. Wait, there's no eModels live show tomorrow. Damn, I'll have to actually do some modelling, says Gaz Vickers. Yes, there's no... if you're a regular watcher of the eModels Monday show, there is no Monday show tomorrow because it's far too close to Christmas and, yeah, family and stuff. However, we are doing the eModels Christmas live show special on Sunday, the 29th, this Sunday, coming up, which is the one where we'll be sitting there for 3 or 4 hours, and we will be building our funny little tanks and egg planes and egg boats and stuff. You've done them for a couple of years, and basically we get some of those little Meng Toon tanks, although this year we've also got a plane and a boat as well, plane and a ship. If I remember rightly, I'm doing the Matilda. Chris has got I think a B-52, something like that. Ted's got the Scharnhorst, again, little egg kit. Ted's got, I think, the Scharnhorst, not the Graf Spee. Colin's got the pink Santa tank. And we might possibly, now it's not guaranteed, we did ask if Nevbo was available, you know, one of our fellow eModels builder, asked if he was free, but he's not actually going to be free, unfortunately, to join us. We did also ask Simon Curry, Gundam UK, if he was able to join us. If you remember, Simon is an eModels builder. He did a build for eModels. And he's one of our little team. But of course, he's been poorly sick for quite a while. So he's been out of commission for a little bit. But he might be joining us. Don't know yet. Don't know for sure. But he might come and join us and do a little build. And it's basically, we'll just get the thing built and painted all in the 4 hours. As best we can in the 4 hours. Which we might not finish it, you know. It might not get finished. And everybody will complain because I get mine built into sub-assemblies and prime before the show. But it's like, you know what? I'm never gonna, I paint slowly. I build slowly. I'm never going to get it finished if I start from scratch. Also, I can't use my airbrush when I'm doing a live stream because it's too loud. Whereas Ted and Chris can just airbrush it and just, there you go, paint it. And I'm like, no, wait. Oh. So, yes. Fox, why not get the eModels guys to participate in the live build? Just availability more than anything else. We've been trying to get Pete Mate to come on the live stream for ages. Just the normal Monday show. But you know, by that time of the night on a Monday night, he's probably got his glass of something nice in his hand and he's having his tea and stuff. It's just not always possible. Because ultimately, you know, the thing about doing any kind of live stuff is it's not everybody's cup of tea and not everybody is good or comfortable at doing it. You know, like for me doing this, for example, I can quite happily sit here for 3 hours and waffle away and have fun with you guys, and I'm completely comfortable doing this. I'm completely at ease. I'm not nervous. I'm having good times. But there are people who just it doesn't come naturally to them. And I don't know. You know, we never had Pete on a live stream or James Mate. But at the end of the day, I think the thing to remember is that we do it voluntarily. For the guys at eModels, but the thing to remember is if you're at work all day, especially on a Monday, imagine the guys get back into the store on a Monday, the busiest day of the week, because they've got all the orders from the weekend they've got to pick and pack and send off. So Monday's always a busy day. The last thing I think any of the guys want to do when they've had a whole day of doing eModel stuff, or they're picking and packing and dealing with customer queries and doing emails, and I think the last thing they want to do is anything to do with eModels when they get home. Yeah, because they're working it 5 days a week, 6 days a week, day in, day out. I think they get home and they're like, you know what? When I leave this shop, it doesn't exist until I get back the next morning, and I fully understand that. The last thing they don't need to think about that because that's what we do. That's what we're here for. So yeah. But let's be honest, we all know what we're doing with live streams. Because we're awesome live streamers. Me, Ted, and Chris, and Colin, and everybody else. We're all awesome at it. Right, let's get this glued in. But yeah, I think part of it is not everybody would be jumping all over themselves to do a live stream. It's not natural for everybody to know how to do it. You can't just plop a camera in and assume you're going to do a good live stream. You might do, or you might be absolute garbage. Some people have got it, some people not. And you've heard me rant on before when you get people who do live streams and they just sit there silently and work on something and they don't interact with their audience. That drives me nuts. But that's what some people do, because it's not something you do instinctively. Right, a little bit of glue in there. Squidgy, squidgy. Squidgy, squidgy. Yeah, there'll be like mud and I think stuff covering up these road wheels anyway, so I'm not too fussed if there's the odd little bit of a seam line on a wheel here and there. Let's have a look. Dad, are you participating? Yes. Well, I was, Andy. I don't know. Did I not say Dad's doing his... Oh, yeah, sorry, no. Dad's doing his Christmas tank. Sorry, I forgot Dad there, didn't I? Yes, Dad is participating in the E-Models live build. Sorry, Dad. I totally forgot to include you there. Yes, Dad's doing his little... He's got the Christmas tank, I think. Is that right? You've got the Santa Claus tank? Because, of course, it's red. So, of course, he's got the Santa Claus tank. Ateris is in. Hello, Fox and friends. Merry Christmas to you all, and I hope you all have a great Christmas. Thank you very much, Ateris, and the same back to you and your family. I hope that you have a good time and that you get all the things you want. Because that's what Christmas is all about. Let's just not mince words, Bones. It's about getting cool things. Maybe about buying people things as well. But it's about getting, not giving. It's about getting. It's all about receiving. So obviously our postman's obviously still taking him a while to get to my house with all the things you guys have sent me. Because he's not turned up yet. So he must have a van full of all the things you guys have sent me. Chris is calling me a cheat because I pre-primed my model before the show. I'm a slow painter. You know, if I want to paint it green, I'm painting it green. If you want to, you could airbrush done. There you go. What? I've got to do camouflage. I've got a camouflage scheme to do on mine. Ted's battleship's grey and his model's grey plastic. He can get away with a lot more than we can. He's got the easiest one of the bunch. You picked the difficult one with an aircraft. I would strongly recommend you do some pre-assembly and pre-priming before the show, Chris. Trust me on that. I do apologise, Dad, that I forgot you. I'll be at work during the live build, says Paul. No. Raging Basis says, I get very nervous going in front of people. I've played with, what 200 gigs, and live streaming or untying terrifies me until I'm doing it. That's the other thing as well. I mean, you know, like I was saying, it's not for everybody. It doesn't come naturally. There's some people that I've seen do live streams and they've tried live stream, but they're just, if you're not comfortable presenting, then doing a live stream, it's a little bit different. I mean, I am not comfortable at all standing in front of people and doing a presentation. I've done it in jobs before where, office presentation. I hate it. I lose sleep. It's horrible. I don't like doing it. But this is anonymous in a way, in that it's not anonymous, but I'm just sat here talking to a microphone with a fluffy head. Look. Fluffy microphone. There you go. I'm just sat here. I've killed my focus now, haven't I? I'm sitting here talking to a microphone. So it's not particularly hard. I'm going to move this thing out of the way. So I can, if I need to, not that I do, but if I needed to, I could pretend that, I could sort of almost pretend there's no one out there and it'd just be me talking to a fluffy microphone. So we can get that a bit better. I've killed me focus and everything now. Let me adjust my focus back for you. Hang on. There's a swap of glasses. Hang on. Glasses changing now. Moving now, sir. So, hang on. Give me... Let me find some words to focus on. Let's look at the words, Let's look at the words. Right, so I'm going to focus on those. Let me get my essential focusing tool. Zooming and focus. There. Yes. What was I talking about? Yes, so I'm not comfortable speaking in front of people who are actually in front of me. But this is kind of almost anonymous, but not quite. There's nobody sat here with me, so I can, as always, in the same way I do my videos, I just pretend I'm teaching my best mate how to do whatever it is I'm doing. So I can, if I ever got nervous, and I don't, but when I did my first few live streams, I just pretended whoever I was talking to was sat on the other side of the table and we're just having a conversation. I'm only for the first few times now, I'm fine with it, but there's a lot of people who I know who've tried this, they've tried live streaming, but they're just far too nervous. They're not comfortable. To them, it's no different to standing up in front of a crowd and talking. It's a horrendous nightmare for them. So not everybody is either cut out for it or enjoys it. I know people who, again, have tried live streaming, but they just can't talk. They've got nothing. They can't think of what to talk about. They dry up. I'm quite happy. I can, I can sit here and waffle on for hours, and you just never shut me up. I'll find something to talk about. Even if I start talking about string, I'll get an hour out of that. And you guys know that. But some people, it's not natural to them. Right, never fear, for God Emperor Kevin is here, says Cy Kevin Reynolds, who is no longer the stream boss and therefore has no authority over anybody in this chat. Yeah, how the mighty have fallen, Cy Kevin Reynolds. Yes. Yes, look at that there, Cy, look. Oh, yeah, so, dumped dude. Welcome, Cy, though, welcome. It was the fluffy microphone. Yes, if anybody wasn't watching at the start, just very quickly as I mentioned that, this is the stream boss battle. George Gabriel is our current stream boss. Cy Reynolds was our previous stream boss until George kicked his ass off the throne. If you want to become stream boss, and you do want to become stream boss, you can net yourself up to 500 quid worth of stuff. Basically, stream boss, you guys create a community pot of money by doing tips to the tip jar. Here, streamlabs.com/model making guru. All you do is you put tips through the tip jar. That goes into a big pile of cash, and that builds up and builds up. It's like if you play Monopoly with the pot where the money goes in the middle and whoever goes past go and lands in jail gets the pot. It's that. Every time you put money in a tip jar, it takes some of George's health off, some of the stream boss's health. The more you put in, the more comes off. Whoever gets him down to 0 wins the pot of cash. And basically what will happen is I will tell you how much is in there. You then order stuff from either Games Workshop or Forge World, or if you're in the EU or the UK, you can order stuff from Goblin Gaming. And basically you pay nothing and a big massive load of stuff turns up on your doorstep. Now when George won, he won just shy of $600 worth of stuff. When Simon won, he won just shy of 500 quid worth of stuff. And when Avi had the first stream boss one, he won about 300 quid worth of stuff because we did it a bit differently in those days. So if you want to have a chance, it's all about having fun. It's all about a bit of a gamble because you can do a little bit now. But, you know, if you're the first person to put money in and you put in 500 quid, you've just paid for 500 quid worth of stuff because you put all the money in. So the trick is to put as little in the pot as possible, but also to make sure enough people are doing it so that somebody gets the pot. So one of you will get the pot by becoming the stream boss. So there you go. So get your tips. Yeah, but it's only the tip jar, not the super chats anymore, because they changed the way things work and it became a nightmare. So it's only the tip jar now. Paul Di Tommaso says, I wish Santa would provide me and my family with the needed funds to pay off the mortgages, having a hard time getting them refinanced. Dude, I hope you get that sorted out. We're lucky in this household that Mum and Dad bought this house in like 1969 and they paid off the mortgage, I think, by the late 80s. Mid-90s or something. They bought this house for £3,500 in 1969. Yeah, my neighbour just sold their house for like 280 grand, and that wasn't even well done up 3 bed. It's just standard 3-bed semi, but they sold theirs for 280 grand, and that wasn't even done up. So yeah, Mum and Dad bought this for £3,500 grand. It took them 25 years to 30 years to pay it off. Even in them days, because that was a lot of money in them days when everything was black and white. Beyond Hope says, I hate Christmas, but I look like Santa. And I've got the wrong glasses on. Hang on, I can't read that. Wrong glasses across the universe. I had to wear a Santa hat at work. I've had kids coming up to me giving me their Christmas list while I'm trying to do my desk job. Dope. Ted might need to do some pre-assembly. The Scharnhorst has a lot of guns. Down with George, says Osric. Stewpot, hi Stewpot, says hi all, and Chris and Dad and Fox. Ghost Lyle is in and says pineapple, 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 pineapple. Bit late though. Raging Basis says, are you going to be down at Goblin anytime soon? Nothing planned at the moment. Far too skint to be basically driving or buying anything. I'm trying to save funds at the moment, so I'm trying to avoid buying stuff right now as best I can. I will do it at some point, but nothing planned right at the moment. I need to win twice, says Dave. I can't do a lot with only half a Warlord Titan. Candygram from Mongo says the whole George Warren increased his stash by an almost perceptible amount, I'd wager. Almost perceptible. Yes. George, I put a picture in the boom hut of what George has basically ordered for himself. He's got himself the box set of he's got 3 massive big box sets basically. Storm something, fighting dudes, and I can't remember which ones they are. They're all cool. It's a huge load of stuff that George managed to get for himself. So it's worth it. It's worth it. But it's all about the challenge. It's all about when do you put your... it could be like, say, George might get down to the last 3,000 or 4,000 units of HP, and there might be a little bit left, but it's like, do you put a big chunk of money in? So you might put £100 in and win £500, so you've won £400 worth of free stuff. Or you might put £300 in and win 350 quid worth of stuff. So you've only really got 50 quid of free stuff there. So you've got to time it. But at the moment, it's about everybody putting in little chippy bits, so it just starts to pad it out. It's like an eBay. I always say it's like an eBay auction. Nothing happens till the very end when somebody just goes, what? And everybody just piles on then, and it's all fun. But it's your game. I don't get any money out of it. I don't profit from it. You guys put the money into the pot, and then one of you guys will win it. So it's your own game. You guys play it. Right, where are we up to? What have we got left here? Right, now we're onto tracks, but I don't think with half an hour left we're going to get much tracks done. So I don't think I'll do any more buildy because it's a bit pointless. I've got to get all the parts of the tracks off and then start dry fitting them to make sure they all line up. So I may as well leave that there for now. I've got that seam line there that I'll need to have a play with once the glue is set and dried enough. But I'm not too worried about it. I'm not too worried. Let's have a look. What's next? In the order of build we have, yes, many much tracks. There's no point. I said there's no point starting that now because it's not going to happen, is it? And then we have track guards, the bit for the mortar, sides. See, that's what gets me. Is you've got all this beautiful detail here. And we're going to put a big piece of cowling over that covers 90% of it up. And it's almost a shame. I'd be almost tempted not to put that side piece on but you need it for the weapons, unfortunately. So it is a real shame. Because it's just going to cover all that up. It's much sadness. Because if you look at it, it's... you see some of it. You see some of the interior workings. But you've got like the big cannon on the side there and this side piece. It just covers it all up. It's a real shame. Look at all that beautiful detail that you'll never see. There's a whole plasma thing there that's probably not even visible. Fox, did George order any glue with his Stream Boss win? No, I think he probably has enough glue. I think he'll need a lot of glue. Just seen the picture of George's win. He's got a lot of assembly ahead of him with that lot. Beyond Hope says yes. I can't get the thing open now because I've got too much running on my desktop already. But one of them was, I can't remember what they were now. But there were 3 big massive box sets. There's a Necromunda one, and there was the one that shouldn't be available anymore but was. And there's something else. Yeah. So what we'll do, I'll leave that there, the bill for there. But we've got a little bit of time, so let's just hang out. Ask me questions. Give me things. Ask me something. Ask me anything. AMA. It's like a Reddit AMA without the Reddit. Ask me anything. Give me something to talk about for the next 10-15 minutes. While I'll clean up some. I'll clean my desk up. There's no point because I've got more bits to do. I'll do all the other bits off camera, or do some more of it off camera. So ask me things. Shadow Spear, Necromunda Underhive, and Blood of the Phoenix is what George ordered. Yes, thank you, Beyond Hope. 3 massive box sets. He's got a lot of building to do. A lot of building. Coffee. Yeah, so I'm not going to be around, so there's no E-Model show tomorrow night, so don't forget, there's nothing going on tomorrow Monday night. I am still working away on the Sazabi, and like I've explained before, I'm not currently filming that. I'm so far behind on that, I'm just getting it done. So the whole filming that video build, that's just stopped now. I need to get it done to send it off to George. So that's still ongoing. I'm not been filming that. I've still got a long way to go with that. It's taking forever. So that's one of the reasons why there's not been a lot of proper painting video type content from me, he says, after slagging off Warhammer TV for 20 minutes. That's why, because I mean, just cracking on with that. But where I have had things like Warhammer Conquest magazines turning up, or Xbox stuff, the X-Wing stuff, I can get them done in an hour or two. So I'll still be. I've just had a Conquest and an X-Wing magazine package turn up, so I'll film those in the next day or two. So you've got them, and we still, of course, have this, and we'll have the Sidewinder Saturdays from now on, but not next Saturday. So I'm a little sparse on actual proper video build content right now, but once George's thing is done, we're on then with the Millennium Falcon, the Bandai Perfect Grade Falcon. That's going to be a proper build series. And then once that's done, I've got all kinds of things to crack on with next year. So I know it's been a bit dry on content on my channel for proper painting content, but I'm trying to give you stuff, at least something to have for now. Whoa! I've just seen what's come through. Let me just... It's going to pop up here any minute now. Candygram from Mongo, that is incredibly kind of you. Thank you very, very much. That is very, very kind. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you, buddy. Nice little super chat. And you see how it comes up in a coloured window here. You can see the colour thing. That's what I see when you do a super chat. I see all the words. Candygram from Mongo, thank you very much. And have yourself a great Christmas too. I really appreciate that. You might have just paid for me to have curry in that takeaway curry place around the corner. That's actually quite nice. The one that keeps getting shut down. Might get me a special Christmas curry with that. Thank you very much, Candygram. What we're talking about? Yes, so there will be more content, obviously, in the new year as we go along. I know it's been a bit lacking at the minute, and I get really conscious about that because, you know, I've got my Patreon supporting me. I've got people doing stuff, you know, like Candygram there, and it's like I don't want to be putting nothing forward because I don't want to just like, you know, make you guys upset that you're supporting me and I'm giving nothing back. But I just need to get stuff done. So as soon as George's thing is done, the Sazabi's done, on with the Falcon. Hopefully you'll look forward to that. And when that's done, yeah, I've got things planned. There are things planned for the new year, which I am going to have fun doing. Right, where are we? I was actually a little unsure over the last few weeks. I kind of thought, I raised a question with D'Agostini. If you remember D'Agostini sending me the X-Wing build very kindly, free of charge. And I sent them a thing saying, hey, I'm really loving the fact I'm doing this for you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Is there anything I can do to help you get more subscribers for your magazine? Like, is there a subscriber code you can give me so that people who watch my video can come to you and subscribe and get like a free poster or something? Do you do anything like that? Is there anything I can do, work with your PR team, to get more of my subscribers subscribed to your artwork? Kind of obvious email. It's not really complicated. Hey, what can you do? What can I do to help you get more subscribers for your magazine with my, you know, all my subscribers? And it went to the customer service rep on the email who went, I'm sorry, we cannot send you anything unless you have a customer account number. I'm like, what? I wasn't asking you for anything, and I am a customer because here's my customer account number. And they went, okay, I've sent it on to our complaints department. They'll be able to help you out. And I'm like, what? I never heard back from them after that. So for a long time, I've been worrying that I've just killed it and I wasn't going to get any more. But I got issues 10 and 11 the other day. So I'm like, oh my God. There's a little bit of ineptitude going on in their customer service team there. In other news, relative to Hachette, who do the Warhammer Conquest, in other news, I have to say, by the way, I've never, some people do like have a lot of problems with D'Agostini. I'd never had a problem with D'Agostini when I was doing the Falcon. I never had a problem with them. I did contact the customer service a few times. They're brilliant, usually. Just this particular situation where I'm out of the ordinary. I'm not a normal customer. I don't have a normal customer number, and I'm asking questions about PR and marketing. And the guy on there is like, I don't know what this is. So I got default replies. But they're usually very good. In other news, Hachette sent me an email yesterday. You may have got one as well if you're subscribed to this or anything similar. They have changed their customer service team. They've moved. Basically, what they mean is they're now paying someone else to do customer service because the people they had probably weren't very good. They've set up a new customer service sort of team and department for the Warhammer Conquest. So if you have had dealings with Hachette before and you've had any issues with customer service, they've apparently changed it now. You probably get an email coming through if you're a subscriber to this partwork. You'll get an email coming through explaining that they've now got a bigger and better customer service department with a different phone number, a different address. So it looks like, I mean, again, I've never had a problem with Hachette. I've mailed them a few times and they have been fantastic. They have been really, really cool. Like I said before, I had one flyer base that broke and they sent me the whole magazine with all the extra Space Marines on it. I'm like, wow, I never wanted a flyer base. Thanks, guys. So they are really good. But they've got a new contact details. So if you do need to get hold of them, go onto their website and check the contact bits first because it has changed. Right, throw me questions, peeps. We've got 10 or 15 minutes to fill. I don't need to go for a great big wee. I'm not particularly hungry, so you've got me for another 15 minutes if you want. I had great fun on Saturday. If you didn't watch it, I did have great fun on Saturday with my my first proper Sidewinder Saturday Elite Dangerous stream. It was good fun. I will be doing more of that. I'll be carrying on with it. I won't be doing one this Saturday because I've got family coming over for Christmas this Saturday. So we'll carry on the Saturday after. But yeah, that's going to be fun. Travelling across the Milky Way with nothing but my crappy starter Sidewinder. Yeah, very heavily pimped out, I would suspect. But that was a lot of fun. Throw me your questions. Any questions? Any question will do. Everybody goes quiet in the chat when I ask for questions. It's like when I'm working on something, chat's moving around and I miss a load of stuff. And then when I say, give me your questions, it all goes quiet. Which weapons are you kitting the Plague Burst Crawler with and why, says More Tracker? I don't know. The thing with me is, I don't really think like that. I just build the stuff that looks cool. And then if I ever do play it on the table, I'll be like, oh, okay, I should have done the other one. I think I'll give it the Heavy Slugger because it looks more interesting than the Rothael Heavy Volley Gun. I guess the volley gun's probably better, but this one's got the little holes that I can paint with the bronze and the heat effect. You see how I work on that. You only get the choice of Entropy Cannon or a Plague Spitter. It means nothing to me. I'll go for whichever I think looks coolest. I don't know anything about Death Guard, which is kind of funny seeing as I'm going to get the Death Guard. I don't know anything about Death Guard, so I'll just go with what looks cool. It's like when I do my Baneblade, I'm either going to do just one variant, or I'll do like Chris and Steve have done, like a silly thing with like 18 different turrets and stuff, just for fun. Because I think, if in reality, I enjoy making the models so much, instead of making an Octoblade where I can swap out different turrets, I'll just make 8 Baneblades. I probably would as well, so yeah. Raging Basis says, sorry I missed the Sidewinder, I was knackered from work. No worries, buddy. You don't have to come and watch my stuff. I'm always super, super grateful when you guys do come and watch stuff, but you don't have to. Chris at Gross Model says, yeah, the only Saturday of the year I'd be able to join you. Says, yeah, because he works. I know, well, I think we've got family coming over. If I haven't, I'll do a stream, but if we have, I can't. I think they're coming on the Saturday because they can't come on the Sunday because we have an e-model stream. Yeah. Let's have a look. Have I missed anything else in chat? Cy Reynolds came into chat and then kind of didn't say anything much. You went very quiet there, chat. He's like, hello, I'm here! Brilliant! And then goes quiet. Airport says, is it me who just does... I'll start that again. Let me just reverse back. Airport says, is it me? Or does Easy Build to... Wow, God, Fox, just... Is it me, or do Easy to Build Primaris Intercessors, set of 3 figures from GW for £10, like a lot of surface detail moulding? I can't remember what they look like now. I think Primaris armour is generally not that detailed anyway. If it's just bog standard, out of the box, not specific faction stuff, their armour is not super detailed. There's not a lot or massive load of texture on them. But yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that makes them kind of the fun, easy ones to start with your painting career, because they are so uncomplicated. In other news, I did the other day, for one of my birthday presents was £20 gift vouchers from Dad. Thank you very much, Dad. I shall show you what I got with my £20 gift vouchers. I meant to show you. I did get myself some more Tempestus Scions. I know I bitched about Tempestus Scions with the thing on the arm and the dangly cable bits being a pain in the arse to build. However, I've got loads of Tempestus Scions and I want more because I do like the look of them. And so I've got 5 more of them to add. So thank you very much to Dad for that. That's what your vouchers went on. Thank you very much. I opened my big Crusader case up the day and it's like 30 or 40 Tempestus Scions. I'm like, you're a pain in the bum to build, but I really can't wait to paint you. And I'm building up an Imperial army, and I think a lot of them will be things like Scions. I was going to do a lot of Deathcore, but that might not happen now because I had issues with Deathcore. But I've got some Deathcore tanks. But yeah, I don't know what colour I'm going to paint them. Dad says red, red, red. I was going to do them in a certain red colour scheme, but I might not do that. No, I don't know. The whole Xeon thing, don't know where I'm going with that, so we'll figure it out. Let's have a look. On the table, the Plague Spitter is the better weapon. Noted. I shall write that on the instructions. Hang on. Me. Pen. Not Penny's boat. Pen. Plague Spitter is the better weapon. Dave says this is better. There you go. So Dave, it's your fault if it's rubbish. There you go. What about the Ruthail volley gun or the Heavy Slugger? Which is the better of those two? Now I know with my Tempestus Scions, a hot shot volley gun is better than a bog standard las rifle. Skullfish says, I've been here and listening. Can I, as a PC gamer, join you folks playing an Xbox? No. You can join... I don't even think you can join our squadron. You definitely can't join the wing because there's no crossplay like that. I don't even think you can join our squadron because I think the squadron is platform specific, so like Xbox, PlayStation or PC. Sadly. It would be awesome if they do that, but they don't. Because as far as I remember, there's three separate universes. There's Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. And although the overarching universe that you play in covers all three, so if you discover a planet playing on PC, then when I go to that planet, I'll see you as the person that first mapped and discovered it, because the simulation is one single shard. But you play in an instance of that, and PC and Xbox and PlayStation are all separate. It's a shame, really. It's the kind of game that would really be awesome if it had proper crossplay, but it doesn't, unfortunately. Let's have a look. Everybody's chatting now. What colour goes with pink? Redoing the tabard of the Primaris Apothecary. With pinks. What's on the colour? I haven't got a colour wheel in front of me. What's opposite red? I mean, red and green are like complementary colours. So if you've got a pink, depends how opposite you want to be. You know, you're going to be looking at the lighter lime, the sort of delicate green, the complete opposite, complementary opposite colour. But creams and pinks go very well. Shrubs and cream. Hello, cream and pink. So creamy bone colours might work quite well. Look at anything from the Adeptus Mechanicus, which is always red and bone colours. All the vehicles and stuff is red, and like a creamy ivory bone colour. Bone colours are actually really nice. Ivory colour, clean ivory colours. Not so much bone as ivory colour. They work really well with reds and pinks. Django says, by the way, for fully customising Gunpla, should I go for 1/144th or 1/100 scale? Story in the Boom Hut Discord, ask for advice. Whichever you want. 100 scale would give you more potentially flexibility because there's more complex parts. You can really go to town mixing and matching bits of armour and inner frame. Whereas 144 scale might be more straightforward and give you more opportunities to do more extensive kit bashes and stuff because they are much simpler. I don't know. I really don't know on that one. It depends on the specific model. Like, for example, I could imagine a lot of fun could be had with the 1/100 scale, the O, because it's a nice, big, fat, chunky boy, and the armour is quite simple. So there's a lot of stuff you could do to that, lots of open space that you could stick things on and change and customise. Whereas, let's say what's it called? The Neo Zeong The massive, massive chunky boy Neo Zeon, that's HG. That's 1/144 scale, but it's like 3 foot tall. So it depends on. I think it depends more on the mobile suit than the actual the suit itself. If you're looking at customizing in terms of structural stuff like changing joints and adding, that's when you might want to get to Master Grade because you've got more joints and sockets and things you can do. If you're just looking at like mostly armor and stuff, maybe HG because it's simpler. Maybe. I magnetized my crawler, says the Orc Boys. I've thought about magnetizing, but I'm just far too lazy. I really am. I've got 2 more Imperial Knights to do, and I might magnetize those because they're going to get sold. I might magnetize those, but I'm too lazy. It's like if I've got a thing if it's got 2 weapons choices, I'll just build 2. I'll take the one I want. I know magnets will be quicker, but you know, yeah. Stewpot says, no, you can't. It's platform. Oh, that's Elite Dangerous. Raging Basis says, electric just went off. FFS, watching on the phone. Put a 50p in a meter, dude. Butcher That Model says, I've just been asked the dumbest question ever. There are some, I've said before, there's no stupid questions. There are some, and one of them is, do you want a donut? That has got to be the stupidest question. I mean, it's not a question you need to ask. Rothale, if you're using the Plague Spitters, says Mordraka. Right, Rothale. But it looks so boring. It's just like 3 tubes, whereas this has got holes. Okay, we'll use the Rothale. There you go. Mordraka says this one. Mordraka says this one. There you go. It kind of looks less interesting. It looks like peas compared to steak. But, you know, sometimes I suppose you have to go with peas, don't you? Purple looks good with pink. Yes, that's true. Is it also... Oh, Airport says, is it normal for someone to want to make and paint the models but have no interest in actually playing the game? Absolutely normal. I've never played a game in my life. Well, I've played one little silly game of Daka Daka Rally. I've never played. I started doing this stuff just because I wanted to build the models, and now I've got millions of them, and I've probably got enough to actually play a game, but I keep making all the stuff that I haven't got a codex for, and then not buying a codex. So, yeah, no, absolutely nothing wrong with buying them for the models. They are beautiful, beautiful models. I've always said with Games Workshop, the quality of Games Workshop models, not necessarily the you know, how complicated they are, but the beautiful quality of the sculpts, the toolings, and how simple they are to build, and how well they go together, especially some of the last 5 or 6 years, is second only to like Bandai. So if you're learning to brush paint, these are the perfect thing to learn on because they are so over exaggerated. The lines are so over the top crisp, and there's so many pronounced edges, and you know, panel lines are recessed quite nicely. They're perfect things to learn to paint, brush paint on, or just learn to do anything on, because they're beautiful. There's so much detail. Yeah, you can't go wrong. I may never play a game. I'd like to. I've got like Crusader cases full of soldiers that I need to finish painting, but at some point I will. But I don't know anybody local to me that plays that I can get to easily. I know a few people that I'd have to go to like Goblin Gaming to play, but it's still a 45-minute drive. Or you know, I've got my local Warhammer store 5 minutes away. But again, I don't know anybody personally. It's not like me and my mates can get together and play because none of them play, and they're all so. Yeah. So at the moment, my focus is building. Nothing wrong with that at all. They are just models at the end of the day. They just happen to have a game at the end of it. Dad says, I've got no interest in playing Airport. I think he means I've got no interest in playing, Airport. I don't know how you play Airport. But done tons of painted armour and figures. JS says, even the 144th, the O is a decent sized model. Yeah, I forgot there was an HG one. Django says, gotta get off the stream for now, so I have to shower for school tomorrow. Well, thanks for coming in, Django. Take care. Have yourself a fantastic school. On the day before Christmas. Wow. Harsh school career. Thank you for coming in, though. Have yourself a great Christmas. The Orc Boys have been painting Warhammer for over 20 years and never played. Faisal is in. Faisal put my teeth in. Faisal Shastari. I can't. Hang on. Wait. Faisal Shastari. I do apologise. I'm having trouble speaking words. There's in. He says, hello. Welcome, Faisal. You've just come in at the end, but welcome. Raging Bassist has got a start collecting box of Necrons built, not fully painted, but I'd had a game with you, mate. Yeah, I know you're local to me, and we could probably meet up at Goblin. And when I do eventually get some games on, it'll be either with yourself or a couple of other guys at Goblin, because I know you and a few other people that go to Goblin, and it's only half an hour away. Or there is couple of guys in the Boom Hut who go to the same to the Altering and Warhammer store that I go to. What's his face? Puppet mate. Gray. I can't remember. You know who it is. Gray makes puppets on Instagram. He's local to me. He plays at my local store, so I keep meaning to go and have a game with him at some point. Faisal says, "Ooh, missed everything." Pretty much. I did that. I made a bit of a thing. Scale model Muse is back from the shops. Coffee. Yeah, but there's like Paul de Tomasa says, he loves the models but no interest in play. There's nothing wrong with. At the end of the day, they're just model kits. Doesn't matter if you play them or not. The only difference is, of course, they're not priced like model kits. That's the thing we've always said. I've always said is with a traditional model kit. If you look at a 45-year-old Tamiya Panzer IV kit that's got like 100 parts, that might be 20 quid. If you look at last year, let's say TACOM release day, Merkava tank, and it's got like 700 parts and it includes photo etch and loads of other stuff, that might be 125 quid. And you've got a big difference. A simple tank kit, 20 quid from 45 years ago, you can still buy now. A modern day, highly engineered, high part count kit with including metal and loads of other stuff can be quite expensive. That's how the normal model industry works. Games Workshop doesn't work that way. Games Workshop, the value of the kit is based on how important it is in the game. So if I've got let's say that squad of 5 dudes, that's 5 dudes, 20 quid. It was 21 quid when I got it. And you think 21 quid for 5 little dudes? It's ridiculous. Yeah, but it's what they can do on the tabletop. So, bizarrely, if you look at, say, the Land Speeder, which is like a floating hovercraft with 6 dudes in it, that's cheaper than these. But that's because these are more expensive in game, and they have more abilities. So, more expensive kit in the real world means it's a more complicated kit. It's got more parts. It's got more details. It's more recent. You know, you get what you pay for. With Games Workshop, a more expensive kit may be simpler. Like this is a simple build, but this is, I think, twice the price of a Land Speeder, which is this big and has 6 dudes in it and has like triple the part count. So it's not quite as logical because it's how powerful things are in game. An Imperial Knight kit, for example, it's, I think, between 80 and 100 quid for an Imperial Knight kit. Bipedal big suit of armour thing. The reason it's so expensive, it's not a complicated kit. It's probably got not massively more parts than, say, this, but it's more expensive because in a typical army in a game, you're only going to have 1 or maybe 2. So you're more likely to only buy 1 or maybe 2 of that kit. Whereas if you've got like these guys, you know, or Imperial Guard who are like tenner for, or 6 quid for 5. Imperial Guard guys is 6 quid for 5 of these, for 5 dudes, because you're going to have to buy a lot of these, because you might have to have 20 or 30 or 40 of these to make up an entire army. So they kind of base it on how many of these are you going to be likely to buy to put in a typical game, because a game is based on points. And if you're going to need to buy 500 grunt troops, they're going to make them as cheap as possible so you actually buy 500 grunt troops. But if you're going to have 1 armour unit and you can only in a typical game have maybe 1 or 2, they're going to price those higher because they know you're not going to buy more than 1 or 2. So they say, well, we're only going to sell like 1 of these to everybody, so let's charge them 80 quid. So that's the way it works. So keep that in mind. It's not the normal pricing model. So it can work out expensive sometimes. Like an Imperial Knight, it's a beautiful kit. It's not really worth 85 quid in the real world. It is in game. There's much more complicated traditional model kits you buy that are worth 85 quid. Like it's the same price as the Master Grade St Andrew Stein, but it's got like a tenth the parts. But on the other hand, it also means you get kits that are fantastically detailed with lots and lots of parts, and they're beautiful and they're really complex, and they go for like 15 quid, and they're a steal. So Some kits are more expensive than they need to be. Some are cheaper than ridiculously cheaper. The Land Speeder is a brilliant kit. It's like 16 quid. It's a car with 6 dudes in it. It's fantastic. So it swings and roundabouts. Some stuff is really worth it. Some stuff is not. But it's just fun. Anyway, quick look at the chat. Then we have to go because it's finishing time. Raging Basis says, essentially you're running out of excuses not to play the game. Yes. Tabletop meets scale modelling. Perfect it is. Says Vamp. Hey Vamp. Pricing makes it hard for younger people to play because of cost. Yeah, there is that. Unless they've got very nice parents that buy them lots of stuff. I see some kids going to my local Warhammer store and the parents are like, I don't care how much it costs. I'd rather them be doing this and costing me a fortune than going out on the street and doing drugs and getting into violence. So some parents are like, you know what? If it keeps the kid happy and keeps them safe, I'll pay the money. I was there. One lady said, the guy in the store said, they walked in and they kind of walked out with several hundred quid worth of stuff. And the lady said, I don't know what any of this means. All I know is he comes here and he plays and he's safe and he's not just spending all day on Xbox and he's not out on street corner selling drugs. And I'm quite happy with that. Thank you very much. Even though it cost me a fortune, it's like, yeah. Oh dear, Paul Di Tommaso has just snapped the blade on his god hands. Oh, don't cut from the tip, dude. Cut from. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, buddy. That's the worst. Luckily, mine haven't broken. If they ever do, I'm completely screwed. You guys have an easier time there getting god hands, I think, than we do, even in Canada. But yeah, oh, it's not good. Base kit for a gameplay over $100. I'm not sure if I should laugh or cry. Says Muse. Dave says it's a game, not a model kit. The price is based on the points value on the table, not the price of the plastic. Yeah, you have kind of you have to get your head around that idea. That's why the pricing is based on the way the model plays. But because it's a model kit, of course, you can't ignore the fact it's just a model kit and be bought as a model kit. In which case, that's where the pricing kind of goes out the window. It doesn't make sense from a traditional model making point of view, but it makes perfect sense from the gameplay point of view. Right. Anyway, let's call it quits because I need to go and have a wee now. I now need a great big wee and it's time for dinner. I shall leave it there. Like I say, you're not going to see me tomorrow night. No e-model show. You probably won't see me on Saturday for the Sidewinder thing because I might not be doing one. But you will see me next Sunday for the e-model show. And thereafter, we're back to normal. But listen, guys and girls, in case this is the last time I see any of you before Christmas, please let me offer you all a massively happy Merry Christmas, if that's what you do. If you're not into Christmas, then just have a good holiday season. It is, much people hate the Americans saying it, it's the holiday season. Everybody's on holiday, or a lot of people are on holiday. So happy next few days this week, whatever your persuasion. Whether you're doing Christmas or not, to me Christmas is just feet up, Baileys and all the food in the world. But yes, have yourself a great next few days, great week. Please have a good and safe and fun holiday. Spend time with your families if you can. If you can't, then keep in touch with your families. Give lots of people hugs. Hope you get lots of nice presents. Take care. Have a really good time. Thank you so much so far. If I don't speak to you before the new year, I probably will, but just in case, I'm not back till the new year. Thank you so much for all your support and love this last 2019. It's been fantastic. It's not been the best of years for me, and it's not been the most content productive years for me, but you guys have stuck by me, and I really, it's awesome. I can't thank you enough for your continued support. So thank you massively for that. So just in case I don't see you, have yourself a great Christmas. Have a fantastic new year. I probably will, but just in case. And I shall see you very soon. But you know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say, have a great Christmas, New Year. Take care of yourselves. Go make something awesome. Now, if the buttons don't work now, I'm going to be embarrassed. Go make something awesome. I'm going to do a test one. Hang on. Let me do a boom hut thing. See if that pops up in chat. Is my button working? No, my button's not working because... Oh, God, Elgato, you're so pants. Let me just reset that. There we go. It kills my flow completely. You think I'd figure this out and do it all quietly behind the scenes without realising, but no, I'm not that clever. Anyway, yes, take care of yourselves. Go make something awesome. Go be awesome, as always. And until next time, happy Christmas, Merry Christmas, happy Kwanzaa, Hanukkah. I don't know any of these. I don't know any of these religious things. Take care of yourselves. Go make something awesome. go be awesome. And until next time, adios, amoebas.